Chapter 2237. Ning Shu listened to Fu Tianhan's reasoning and his heart became colder and colder. Fu Tianhan's heart was already biased towards the pitiful Tian Shanshan who was in a weak position. Wasn't it an accident? Aren't you fine? Why are you holding on to this matter? That was what Fu Tianhan meant. Perhaps in the eyes of outsiders, Fu Tianhan was a good man, tolerant and gentle, but was he fair to Cui Murue? Ning Shu still only said one sentence, "I'll listen to you, I'll listen to you." This is chicken soup. It's not easy for you to travel back and forth every day. Drink some. Ning Shu poured some chicken soup from the thermos. Drink some. Okay. Fu Tianhan heaved a sigh of relief when he saw that Ning Shu did not make a scene. Without thinking, he picked up the chicken soup and drank it. Ning Shu poured out some chicken. These old hens are especially chewy. Speaking of which, this was brought over by Tian Shanshan. Fu Tianhan ate the old hen and felt that the meat was extraordinarily old. He couldn't even move it, but he still swallowed it whole. "I'll be here today. I heard from the doctor that your injuries are much better. When are you going to be discharged? We should be preparing to get married." Fu Tianhan lay down beside Ning Shu and pulled Ning Shu into his arms. "I can't wait any longer." Ning Shu curled his lips. "My waist hurts. Don't hug my waist." "Oh, okay." Fu Tianhan seemed to be very tired and fell asleep beside Ning Shu. It was a hospital bed, and the two of them were squeezed together. It was too fucking cramped. Fortunately, Fu Tianhan, this experienced driver, did not drag her down the highway from the hospital bed. The next morning, Tian Shanshan came to visit Ning Shu. When she saw the couple squeezed together on the bed like two salted fish, her face darkened as she stood at the door of the ward. When Fu Tianhan woke up, Ning Shu was already awake. Fu Tianhan couldn't be bothered with him and pretended to be asleep. Fu Tianhan tiptoed out of the ward and saw Tian Shanshan standing at the door. He looked down and saw that she was carrying breakfast. "Are you delivering breakfast to her?" Fu Tianhan asked. Tian Shanshan immediately nodded. Fu Tianhan said, "Give it to me. She doesn't want to see you." "Okay, thank you." Tian Shanshan immediately bowed. "Does she like chicken soup? I'll make it for her." "You stewed that?" Fu Tianhan was a little surprised. He thought that Mu Rui's nanny had sent it over. "It's my stew. Even if Miss Cui doesn't want to forgive me, I still have to do something. I caused the harm. Does Miss Cui like chicken soup?" Tian Shanshan looked at Fu Tianhan with anticipation. The chicken soup had entered his stomach. Fu Tianhan looked at Tian Shanshan's pitiful and expectant look and could not bear to discourage her. "I like it. I finished it all. Then I'll make more for her," Tian Shanshan said happily. Ning Shu knew that the chicken soup was from Tian Shanshan, but he accepted it. When Tian Shanshan delivered the chicken soup again, Ning Shu threw 3 pills into the chicken soup that Tian Shanshan delivered. Then he called Fu Tianhan to drink the chicken soup. Looking at the time, it was also time for Fu Tianhan to get off work. Fu Tianhan received a call and came to the hospital to see Ning Shu. Of course, he was also drinking the chicken soup. Ning Shu poured the chicken soup for Fu Tianhan. "Drink it." Fu Tianhan knew that the chicken soup was made by Tian Shanshan. If he ate it, perhaps Tian Shanshan would be a little happier. She would feel better if she treated it as Mu Rui eating it. It was a gesture of goodwill. It was useless for things to continue like this. It would be better for the relationship between the two parties to ease up a little. Fu Tianhan's reason was to make his fiancée happier and not indulge in such hatred. Moreover, Tian Shanshan's face was injured to such an extent. When he passed by the ward, he saw Tian Shanshan pretending that nothing had happened and calling her family with a strong look on her face. No one wanted an accident to happen, but it had happened. If they held on to it like this, everyone would feel uncomfortable. Tian Shanshan's face was also cut. It could be considered a form of punishment. Fu Tianhan could feel that Tian Shanshan was sincere. Ning Shu was speechless when she saw that Fu Tianhan could even drink chicken soup with such an expression on his face. Now, Fu Tianhan was starting to pity Tian Shanshan. Even if his fiancée really died in Tian Shanshan's hands, his heart would ache as he tortured her. Since he liked to drink so much, he should drink more. Every time Tian Shanshan delivered the chicken soup, Ningshu asked Fu Tianhan to drink the chicken soup. Then he got someone to take a few photos of her ward. At the very least, he had to let people know that she had been hospitalized. Tian Shanshan's face was better and she went to film a TV drama, but she still insisted on sending nourishing soup to Ningshu. Moreover, these nourishing soups were all made by her personally. Tian Shanshan's body could not take it anymore since she had to film and boil soup. Fu Tianhan said to Ningshu, "I'm tired of drinking chicken soup. I don't want to drink anymore. Don't you think I've gained weight recently?" Ningshu sized up Fu Tianhan seriously. "You're not fat. You have a rosy complexion and your fur is shiny." "My fur is shiny?" Fu Tianhan was stunned. "Naughty. I'm not a pig. It's okay. Just treat it as more nourishment," Ningshu said. Fu Tianhan felt that if this continued, he would vomit when he saw the chicken soup. He went straight to the set to look for Tian Shanshan. Tian Shanshan was being put in a difficult position by the seniors in the entertainment industry. Fu Tianhan supported Tian Shanshan and could be considered a hero saving the beauty. "Thank you for helping me out." "Why are you looking for me?" Tian Shanshan pushed away Fu Tianhan's hand that was grabbing her wrist and asked with her head lowered. "You don't have to send her chicken soup anymore. You'd better finish filming the TV drama as soon as possible and admit your mistake," Fu Tianhan said directly. Tian Shanshan's body trembled. She bit her lip and said with a pale face, "I understand." Fu Tianhan was a little annoyed when he saw Tian Shanshan like this. Firstly, he didn't want to drink chicken soup anymore. Secondly, he didn't want to see her running between the set and the hospital. He didn't really want Tian Shanshan to admit her mistake. "Don't send the chicken soup anymore." "I understand. If there's nothing else, President Fu, I'll go back to work." Tian Shanshan bowed and turned to leave with tears in her eyes. Sigh. Fu Tianhan wanted to stop her, but he didn't know what to say. He could only stroke his hair in frustration. He didn't know what he was frustrated about. Tian Shanshan didn't send the chicken soup anymore. Ningshu waited until then and didn't get the chicken soup, so he asked the servant at home to stew the chicken soup. Then he put the pills in it and called Fu Tianhan to drink the chicken soup. Fu Tianhan was speechless. He wanted to vomit when he saw the chicken soup. Didn't he ask Tian Shanshan not to stew the chicken soup? Fu Tianhan went to the hospital to drink the soup and said to Ningshu, "I'm really going to vomit. I don't want to drink this anymore. You're so thin and should nourish yourself more." "It's okay. I'm very happy to see you eat," Ningshu said with a gentle smile. /BK. Chapter 2238. Seeing that Fu Tianhan's skin was obviously 2 shades whiter, he looked even more handsome, and his skin was exceptionally lustrous. Ningshu said, "Since you don't want to drink it anymore, then I won't drink it in the future." Ningshu said as he poured half a bowl for himself and drank 2 mouthfuls. "I probably won't drink soup for a year and a half, Fu Tianhan said with a smile. He paused for a while and said, "Are you still angry about Tian Shanshan's matter? Didn't you say that you would wait for her to take the initiative to admit her mistake after the filming of this TV series? I'm waiting for her to take the initiative to admit her mistake. Our wedding date is approaching. I think I should prepare to be discharged from the hospital," Ningshu said lightly. "That's right. It's nothing more important for us to live our lives happily." Fu Tianhan laughed. Ningshu packed his things and prepared to be discharged from the hospital. The young intern doctor gave Ningshu a final examination. Dr. Bai was speechless. It was just a sprain and a scratch on his hand, but he had to stay in the hospital for so long. However, Dr. Bai only complained in his heart. This kind of rich young lady had too much money to burn. It was none of his business. Ningshu felt that Dr. Bai was looking at him strangely. He couldn't help but say, "Can I eat you up? I can stay as long as I want." "No, you can be discharged," Dr. Bai said. "Although I don't know what kind of entanglement you have with the patient, Tian Shanshan, that patient sends you chicken soup every day. It's good for your health to be relaxed." Ningshu chuckled. "Are you here to seek justice for others? This doesn't seem to have anything to do with you." In the eyes of the doctors and nurses, Tian Shanshan was weak. She was an arrogant and domineering young lady who lived in an IP ward and bullied others. It was as if she had cut Tian Shanshan's face. What a vicious young lady. Bai Hao's face turned red. I'm just saying. Do you know the truth? Just say it. Ning Shu looked at Bai Hao's doctor's badge. You saw her pitiful look. She didn't do anything wrong. Forget it, what am I talking to you about? We won't have any interaction after you leave the hospital. What did other people think have to do with her? Everyone sympathized with the weak. Her identity as a rich young miss gave her the identity of a strong person. It seemed like she was bullying others. Don't worry, I will prove your thoughts. I won't bear this accusation for nothing. If he didn't do anything, wouldn't he be letting down the crime of bullying the weak? Ning Shu picked up his bag and left. Then he looked at Bai Hao. How gossipy. Bai Hao didn't know what to do under Ning Shu's gaze, and his ears turned red. After returning to the huge villa, Ning Shu waited for Tian Shanshan to announce this matter. If he left the hospital, wouldn't Fu Tianhan and Tian Shanshan have no chance to interact? Was she going to sacrifice herself again? Ning Shu was preparing for the wedding and studying the recent project cooperation between the two families. If Fu Tianhan proposed to break off the engagement, how much benefits could the Cui family gain from it? There was no reason to lose both the person and the money. Moreover, Fu Tianhan had to take the initiative to propose this marriage. If Fu Tianhan really loved Tian Shanshan, Fu Tianhan would be the one who would be anxious. When he had nothing to do, he would go to his company and pay attention to the company's project trends. At the same time, he would pay attention to the Fu family's company. If the relationship between the two families broke up, he had to minimize the losses of his company and get the greatest compensation. Ning Shu called every day to urge him to get married. Tianhan, there are still 18 days before our wedding. There are still 17 days. 16, 15, 14. Every time Cui Murue called, Fu Tianhan's heart would become more frustrated. The countdown was like the countdown to his life. Fu Tianhan hated this feeling. He clearly wanted to marry Cui Murue, but now he felt annoyed. It was a burden, as if someone was strangling his throat. It was uncomfortable. President, Miss Tian is here to look for you, the secretary said to Fu Tianhan. Let her in. Fu Tianhan coughed and tidied up his clothes. He looked at Tian Shanshan, who walked in with a serious expression. President Fu, has Miss Cui been discharged from the hospital? I can't see Miss Cui. President Fu, please bring me to see Miss Cui, Tian Shanshan said. She went to the hospital to see Miss Cui, but was told that she had been discharged. Fu Tianhan stood up and sat on the leather sofa. His long legs were crossed and his fingers were crossed. He raised his eyebrows and looked at Tian Shanshan. She has just been discharged from the hospital. Are you trying to anger her to death by appearing in front of her? No, I've never thought of angering anyone to death. I really don't know what to do. I don't know what to do to make it up to her. I really want to make it up to her. I want to lessen my sins. Tian Shanshan waved her hands repeatedly. She was so anxious that tears fell from her eyes. All right. Fu Tianhan stopped teasing her. You'd better not see her. So what if you see her? I just want to tell Miss Cui that my TV drama is about to be finished. I will do as I said and publicize this matter and bear my responsibility, Tian Shanshan said. Fu Tianhan frowned and a trace of displeasure flashed across his eyes. Are you really going to publicize this matter? Aren't you afraid that this matter will affect your future? I've thought about it. Perhaps I'll be blamed by Wan Fu. I've decided to quit the entertainment industry, Tian Shanshan said tiredly. Tian Shanshan said tiredly. Her eyebrows were filled with weariness, as if there was a heavy burden on her body. All right, I'll bring you to see her, Fu Tianhan said. Thank you. Tian Shanshan immediately smiled brightly. Tian Shanshan was originally very beautiful. With such a smile, it felt like a smile that could topple a city, causing Fu Tianhan to be a little stunned. When Ning Shu saw Fu Tianhan and Tian Shanshan coming to his house to look for her, he immediately felt that he had not fed Fu Tianhan so many contraceptives for nothing. Fu Tianhan had become much paler. Standing beside Tian Shanshan, The two of them were so white that they were about to glow. They were so white that they looked like bolts of lightning. Contraceptives usually contained estrogen. If a man ate it, the estrogen in his body would increase. A woman's sexual characteristics would appear, while a man's sexual characteristics would decrease. There would be many endocrine disorders. His Adam's apple would become smaller, his body hair would become lighter, and his skin would become whiter. If the dosage was too high, it would cause a man's to develop, his penis would become smaller, and his sexual function would decrease. It might also affect his reproductive function. Anyway, the chicken soup that Fu Tianhan ate was made by Tian Shanshan. He was very happy to eat Tian Shanshan's chicken soup. Seeing the two of them come to see her together, Ning Shu's heart did not waver. He felt that what should come had finally come. "You're here to ask for my forgiveness again. I will never forgive you," Ning Shu said to Tian Shanshan with a smile. "Mu-ru," Ning Shu interrupted Fu Tianhan. "But are you going to help her too?" "I'm not helping her. It's just that things are getting more and more troublesome." "Why do you have to make things so troublesome?" Fu Tianhan did not feel that he was helping Tian Shanshan, but from a calm point of view. /BK Chapter 2239. Fu Tianhan kept saying that he was analyzing things calmly and objectively from the perspective of a bystander. However, from the beginning, Fu Tianhan's heart was crooked. It seemed fair and just, but it was unfair to Cui Murui. It was Ning Shu now. Of course, she would not feel stifled by Fu Tianhan's attitude because Fu Tianhan was a stranger to her. This was something he had expected. Ning Shu took a deep breath and said, "You came here to disgust me, didn't you? If you really want to admit your mistake, do as we said before, admit your mistake publicly and then accept your punishment. So, why are you here now?" Tian Shanshan said, "I'm here to ask for your forgiveness. This might be the last time we'll see each other because I'm about to finish filming this drama. We probably won't see each other again. This is the last time I'm asking for your forgiveness. Forgive me for the harm I've caused you." Tian Shanshan knelt down. "I'm sorry." Fu Tianhan saw Tian Shanshan kneeling on the ground and could not help but take a few steps towards her. However, he immediately reacted and stopped in his tracks. He said to Ning Shu, "She's sincere." "Of course I know that she's sincere. The truth is right in front of you. You can't deny it. Do you think that since I'm not dead and am standing here with my arms and legs, I should forgive her?" No matter how one looked at it, she was in a strong position and was making things difficult for the weak Tian Shanshan. "Murui, I don't think so. Don't be so agitated. Don't you think you're very sensitive now? You've become a little neurotic because of this matter. I didn't ask you to forgive her." Ning Shu exploded and pointed at his nose. "I'm agitated, I'm sensitive, I'm neurotic. Fu Tianhan, are you crazy? Don't you feel sorry for Tian Shanshan? Do you love Tian Shanshan? Don't forget that we're getting married. The two of you don't have a chance. If you don't want to make it clear, I'll make it clear for you. I'm tired of it. I have to grab the benefits quickly. Miss Cui, President Fu and I are innocent. It's not what you think. I'm sorry, I shouldn't have invited President Fu to see you. I'm sorry. Tian Shanshan quickly said, afraid that the two of them would not get along because of her. She was already tortured by this matter and felt very uneasy. Fu Tianhan rubbed the space between his eyebrows in frustration. "Can you not be so unreasonable? How could I betray you? Then take her away. I don't want to see her at all. She begged you, and you brought her to me. Have you considered my feelings? Today was supposed to be a happy day, but you had to bring such a person to ruin it. If they were really here to apologize, then they should announce it. They should publicly apologize and take responsibility for their actions. Even kneeling down and apologizing would be useful." Ning Shu was waiting for the day when Tian Shanshan would announce it. If she didn't announce it, then don't blame her for taking measures. You're not in a good mood right now. No matter how much we say, we'll only argue. Let's talk about it when you calm down. Fu Tianhan picked up his suit jacket and prepared to leave. Tian Shanshan hesitated for a moment before following behind Fu Tianhan. She turned around to look at Ning Shu, who was sitting on the sofa. The two of them looked at each other. Tian Shanshan retracted her gaze and shivered. She felt that that person's gaze was very calm. It was calm, as if there was no emotion in it. If there was some resentment or hatred in it, Tian Shanshan might be able to understand. However, with such a calm gaze, Tian Shanshan felt that the other party did not take her seriously. After leaving the villa, Fu Tianhan asked Tian Shanshan to get into the car and the two of them drove away. He's been in a bad mood recently. You have to be more tolerant. Don't be in front of her. She really doesn't like you, Fu Tianhan said, feeling a little chest pain. I'm sorry for causing you and Miss Cui to quarrel. Speaking of which, this is all my fault. Otherwise, you two would be married now. Tian Shanshan looked apologetic. Ning Shu paid attention to Tian Shanshan. He wanted to see when Tian Shanshan would announce it. The drama had ended, but Tian Shanshan did not announce it. She even attended various events. At the publicity meeting for the drama, Ning Shu waited for Tian Shanshan to admit her mistake. Didn't she say that she wanted to quit the entertainment industry? However, after the publicity meeting ended, Tian Shanshan did not say anything. Moreover, her path was dragged away by someone. Ning Shu spread his hands. He had been waiting for Tian Shanshan to admit her mistake. After all, the client's mission was to protect his life. On this basis, Tian Shanshan was responsible for what she had done. However, Ning Shu decided to wait. He waited for half a month, but Tian Shanshan still did not apologize. Ning Shu urged Fu Tianhan to get married, but the reason Fu Tianhan gave him was that he was in a bad mood now. Marriage was a major event in his life, and he had to welcome it in his best state. In short, the marriage was postponed again and again. Alright, he did not want to get married anymore. Fu Tianhan's chest bulged and he gained some weight. At first, Fu Tianhan thought that he had gained weight and his muscles had turned into fat. He ran for 2 hours every day and did all sorts of training. However, when he was in the toilet, he still felt that his dick was a little abnormal. He felt a little dispirited. However, Fu Tianhan did not take it to heart. Right now, Fu Tianhan had more important things to consider. He wanted to see if he could spend the rest of his life with such a girl. In the past, he had not encountered anything. Ever since the car accident, Fu Tianhan realized that Cui Murue seemed to be different from what he had imagined. She was not that kind either. When Cui Murue died, it was when Fu Tianhan loved her the most. She became the white moonlight in his heart. However, after some unforeseen events, he felt that this person was not the person he wanted to marry. Ning Shu knew what Fu Tianhan was thinking and pretended not to know. He went to the company every day to get a rough understanding of the company's situation. Right now, the company was working on a big project with the Fu family's company. If they signed on to this project, the company's liquidity would be almost depleted. If the project could not be returned in time, the company would face a situation where the capital chain would be broken. Ning Shu decided not to sign the contract. It was obvious that it was not worth the risk. The premise of this risk was that the two families could become in-laws and advance and retreat together. However, Fu Tianhan did not want to get married now. If Fu Tianhan wanted to break off the engagement, he would definitely have to pay a certain price. Ning Shu waited and waited, but Tian Shanshan's so-called apology did not come. With Tian Shanshan's status, it was obvious that she was popular. The price of exposure was a little high, and her path to stardom might be dim. Therefore, no matter how sincere Tian Shanshan was when she knelt down to beg for forgiveness, it was not as practical as an apology and taking responsibility. Ning Shu turned on his computer and cracked his knuckles. It was time to be exposed. /BK. Chapter 2242. Ning Shu's wailing gave Father Cui a fright. What's wrong? Ning Shu explained the whole story clearly. Father Cui raised his eyebrows. He defended the woman who hit you. I'll go talk to Fu Tianhan's parents, Father Cui said. Ning Shu nodded. Dad, I want to marry Fu Tianhan in this life. We were clearly in love before, but everything changed after a car accident. Father Cui's face was stern. It was obvious that he wanted an explanation. Ning Shu blinked. The more he forced Fu Tianhan, the more unwilling he was to get married. The more uncomfortable he felt, the more he wanted to break off the engagement. Father Chui looked for Fu Tianhan's parents. Fu Tianhan's parents vowed that they would definitely marry into the Chui family. As for that female celebrity, it was absolutely impossible for her to marry into a wealthy family. The daughter-in-law of the Fu family could only be Chui Murue. Then, Fu Tianhan was forced to get married by his parents again. He was extremely frustrated. This feeling was like a rope slowly tightening around his neck. He increasingly believed that Chui Murue was no longer the wife he wanted. Fu Tianhan's parents directly withdrew their investment from the movie that Tian Shanshan was in. Which female celebrity who had been in the entertainment industry didn't want to hang a rich husband? They didn't want to find a sugar daddy who supported them. Their son was stupid, but they weren't. This drama was originally a movie that Fu Tianhan had invested in to help Tian Shanshan stand up again in the entertainment industry. When the limelight passed, this matter would quickly be forgotten. The popularity of gossip only lasted for 3 days. After 3 days, new things would appear, making people forget what had happened before. Since the Fu family had withdrawn their investment, the movie naturally couldn't be filmed. How could they film without funds? Moreover, this movie wasn't a small amount. The Fu family was the main investor. When the other investors saw the Fu family withdraw their investment, there was a big hole that needed everyone to fill. The contribution was too great. The other investors also withdrew their investment. They just wanted to follow the Fu family and drink some soup. However, they might lose money, so they could only withdraw their investment. Tian Shanshan sighed. She was like a chicken in someone else's hands. She had offended a rich person. It was impossible for her to stay in the entertainment industry. Fu Tianhan was furious. His parents had withdrawn their investment without his consent. This was to show him and Tian Shanshan their power. Chui Murue had added fuel to the fire. Fu Tianhan angrily came to find Ning Shu, his voice a little sharp as he roared at Ning Shu. Chui Murue, I originally had nothing to do with Tian Shanshan. Don't you think you're going too far by doing this? You said that you would seek justice for me. Now, you are seeking justice for me on behalf of others. Ning Shu looked at Fu Tianhan's snow-white face and really wanted to touch it. It's not easy for Tian Shanshan. Do you know how much she has suffered? As for this investment, I'm just pushing the boat along. I'll definitely make money if I invest. I'm not investing specifically for her, Fu Tianhan said. Ning Shu asked the maid to bring a glass of fruit juice and handed it to Fu Tianhan. Drink some water. Look at how angry you are. What are you angry about? Fu Tianhan drank the fruit juice in one gulp. Of course I'm angry. You were the one who told my parents about the movie investment, right? In terms of business, this movie has nothing to do with Tian Shanshan. Ning Shu nodded. I want to believe you, but it's fine if your actions make me believe you, but your actions make me very unhappy. This is a warning. If something like this happens again in the future, I'll look for uncle and auntie again. You're simply unreasonable. Fu Tianhan was so angry that he was trembling and left. Ning Shu held his chin and looked at Fu Tianhan's back. He called the lawyer and asked when the court session would start. After all, he had been frightened, so he should compensate him for his mental damage. The lawyer said that the court session would start soon. Ning Shu released the news. Now that Tian Shanshan was so popular, there should be a lot of reporters who were interested in her. Tian Shanshan received the court summons and rubbed her forehead tiredly. She looked at the lawyer that Fu Tianhan had arranged for her and asked, Will I have to compensate a lot of money? You bumped into someone is solid evidence. Now, we can only play the sympathy card and explain what happened that night. Tell us why you abandoned Miss Chui. The court should reduce the compensation. When the court session started, Ning Shu and Tian Shanshan met at the entrance of the court. There were also many gossip reporters. Tian Shanshan saw Ning Shu's guilty face and said to Ning Shu, I'm sorry. Although I have many reasons, I have to struggle for these reasons. Tian Shanshan felt that in front of a rich person, she was like an ant that could be easily crushed. Ning Shu, she had become a bully again. If she, the daughter of a rich family, had bumped into someone today, she might have been scolded badly. Tian Shanshan, on the other hand, had been washed clean. Tian Shanshan had worked hard to make a living in the entertainment industry for her family and for her father. Ning Shu was speechless. Who in this world didn't work hard? Their income was almost what an ordinary person could not earn in their lifetime. Shouldn't they work harder? People like Tian Shanshan didn't deserve the sympathy of ordinary people who worked hard to earn money. Tian Shanshan was definitely not a weak person. It was just that compared to her, the daughter of a rich family, Tian Shanshan seemed to be very weak. Ning Shu entered the court and didn't say anything more to Tian Shanshan. After all, she was a vicious female supporting character. In the court, Ning Shu's lawyer asked for 20 million in compensation. 20 million. Tian Shanshan was so scared that she stood up directly. 20 million was several years of income. It was good that she could earn a few million in a year. 20 million was definitely a large number. Although Tian Shanshan felt guilty, she couldn't pay so much money. It almost emptied her family's assets. Even if she emptied her family's assets, she couldn't pay so much money. Her father's life was now hanging on with money. Tian Shanshan's defense lawyer refused to pay so much money. If it was an ordinary person, even if they died, they wouldn't have to pay so much money. I'm not an ordinary person. I'm the only heir of the Cui family. My family's big company is waiting for me to inherit. If I die, who will pay for the losses? Ning Shu said with a sneer. 20 million, not a cent less. I refuse to settle, Ning Shu said lightly. Tian Shanshan was at her wit's end. Where could she find 20 million? She knew very well that Cui Murue was venting her anger on her because of her relationship with Fu Tianhan. I'll give you 20 million. Fu Tianhan opened the door, walked in and said to the judge, Tian Shanshan is willing to pay 20 million. There's no need for this case to be heard. What a handsome hero saving the beauty. Tian Shanshan's eyes sparkled as she looked at the stunned Tian Shanshan. Ning Shu applauded in his heart. 20 million was in his account. Oh yeah, he liked this kind of stupid and rich person. /BK. Chapter 2243. The 20 million came very quickly and easily. It felt like he had bought out this relationship. Fu Tianhan suddenly barged in and said that he wanted to pay the 20 million for Tian Shanshan. It was not that he did not want to anger her, but he wanted to help Tian Shanshan more. Ning Shu held his chin and looked at the snow-white Fu Tianhan. Young man, taking too much hormones would shorten your life. Tian Shanshan was at a loss. 20 million was not a small amount. If Fu Tianhan paid the 20 million for her, what would she use to repay Fu Tianhan? Moreover, if anything happened to their relationship because of this, it would be her responsibility again. Tian Shanshan only wanted to resolve this matter and continue to survive in the entertainment industry. She could not live without money. Tian Shanshan would never agree to give 20 million. Even if the lawsuit continued, she could not give 20 million. Her father was still waiting for the money. Ning Shu blinked at the serious Fu Tianhan. What do you mean by this? You didn't hit me. Why do you have to compensate me? The judge was speechless. Was he crazy? They were in court now. He asked, do you agree to the compensation of 20 million? Agreed. Fu Tianhan and Tian Shanshan spoke at the same time, but the content of their words was different. Ning Shu smiled at the two of them. Tian Shanshan, you said that you wanted to compensate me, and ask me to forgive you. Now that money can get you forgiveness, you actually don't want to compensate me. This is your attitude of asking for forgiveness. It turns out that what you said before was fake. Then you two have reached an agreement and announced the result. The judge knocked on the hammer and it was over. Tian Shanshan did not even have time to say anything. Cui Murue, don't vent your anger at me on others. Fu Tianhan looked at Ning Shu. You know that she can't take out so much money. You should know what her family situation is like. I should know everything. What does this have to do with me? By the way, transfer the money to my card. Also, we're getting married. You should put your heart away. Ning Shu waved goodbye. Fu Tianhan was speechless. He thought that she would fly into a rage, but she left just like that. Ning Shu used the 20 million yuan that Fu Tianhan had transferred to him to buy some shares of the Fu family's company. He bought some scattered shares and contacted some of the small shareholders of the Fu family's company. He did not expect to buy the shares of the large shareholders, and it would be easy to alert the enemy. It was also possible to buy the shares of the minority shareholders at a premium and slowly accumulate them. Fu Tianhan had paid 20 million yuan as compensation for the popular actress, Tian Shanshan. 20 million yuan immediately caused a huge uproar. Now that Tian Shanshan had interfered in Fu Tianhan and Cui Murue's relationship, the mistress had become a foregone conclusion. There was no way he would give out 20 million for no reason. My fiancé compensated me with $20 million for the perpetrator. This feeling was a little sad. Everyone on the internet was scolding Tian Shanshan. If Tian Shanshan wanted to act in a TV series, Ning Shu would become the biggest producer of that TV series and directly remove Tian Shanshan. He would definitely not be soft-hearted. If he could use the power of money to solve the problem, he would use money. After a while, Tian Shanshan did not have a chance to act at all. Fu Tianhan probably wanted to be angry with Ning Shu and also to get rid of Tian Shanshan's predicament. Fu Tianhan became an investor alone and specially made a show for Tian Shanshan to film. Moreover, he did not accept other investors. It was obvious that he was worried that other investors would remove Tian Shanshan. Ning Shu brought his father to the Fu family to force the marriage. They were going to get married soon. Ning Shu said to Fu Tianhan's parents, "I don't mind Fu Tianhan and Tian Shanshan's relationship. After all, they are going to get married. I don't mind him facing the fear of marriage and wanting to have some passion. I am with her, and he has encountered a sense of novelty. It is normal for him to want to escape. I can understand, but the wedding still has to be held as usual. After all, this concerns the reputation of our two families. Otherwise, we will become a laughing stock in the entertainment industry." Ning Shu pretended to be virtuous and made Fu Tianhan's mother pat Ning Shu's hand. "You are really virtuous. You are the most suitable daughter-in-law for our family. Don't worry, our daughter-in-law can only be you." Ning Shu smiled shyly. "Thank you, auntie. I will only marry brother Tianhan in this life." That unfilial son is simply outrageous. He was played around by someone from the entertainment industry. Fu Tianhan's father looked disappointed. Ning Shu only smiled and listened to Fu Tianhan's father promise her that Fu Tianhan would definitely marry her. Ning Shu looked convinced and nodded wildly. Fu Tianhan came down from upstairs and said to Ning Shu, "I won't marry you." Ning Shu's expression froze. "But I don't mind you and Tian Shanshan. Even if Tian Shanshan bumped into me, I don't mind you speaking up for Tian Shanshan. This concerns the reputation of our two families. Are you sure you want to do this? There's no reason. I just feel that the two of us are not suitable," Fu Tianhan said. "What are you talking about? We are about to get married. What are you talking about?" Fu Tianhan's mother gave her son a look. "How can I know what's going on? We are about to get married, and then you say you are not getting married. Are you playing with our Cui family?" Father Cui's stern face became even uglier. "Old Cui, don't be anxious. The marriage will definitely be held as usual. He just made a mistake for a moment." Fu Tianhan's father quickly comforted Father Cui. Ning Shu suppressed his laughter, his face full of shock and despair. "Why are you treating me like this? What did I do wrong? Just because I asked Tian Shanshan for 20 million, she almost killed me. What's wrong with me asking for some money? I also wanted to end this matter, so I used money to solve it. Are you going to say that I'm vicious again? How am I vicious? Using 20 million to make up for the mistake of a popular celebrity? How am I vicious again?" Ning Shu was in tears. She wiped her nose and thought, "Oh my acting skills have improved a lot." Facing Ning Shu's question, the Fu family was silent. Father Cui dragged Ning Shu away. "What are you crying for? Isn't it just a man? Let's go." Ning Shu was crying and snot as he was dragged away by Father Cui. He even turned around to look at the silent Fu Tianhan. After leaving the Fu family, Ning Shu quickly wiped the tears off his face and said to Father Cui, "Let's sign the contract for the time being. Once we sign the contract, we will have to invest a lot of money." The Fu family didn't do this properly. Are we going to let it go just like that? Is he really going to be with that female celebrity? Father Chui was extremely serious as he frowned. Ning Shu blew his nose. Anyway, his parents won't agree. The interests of the two families are tied together. Fu Tianhan's mind is not clear, but his parents won't be. Father Chui looked at Ning Shu. Don't cry. If you really can't marry Fu Tianhan, the company will be handed over to you in the future. Chapter 2244. When Father Chui saw Ning Shu blowing his nose, he was speechless. If you really want to marry him, you have to think of a way. I got it. Ning Shu got into the car. He had to think of a way to get some meat out of the Fu family. Her tears would be in vain. Dad, give me some money. Ning Shu said to Father Chui. The 20 million yuan had been used up. Now he had to get more shares. When the time came, Fu Tianhan would have to pay a price if he wanted to break off the engagement. Father Chui probably felt that his daughter was sad and wanted to shop to relieve the pain. He gave Ning Shu a black card. You don't have any tricks. How did you get controlled by a female celebrity? Ning Shu sighed. She has Fu Tianhan protecting her. What can I do? People with capital could definitely crush people in the entertainment industry. Father Chui said, let's wait and see what the Fu family's attitude is. Anyway, this matter won't be let go so easily. Ning Shu nodded. Tian Shanshan was still doing well in the entertainment industry. With Fu Tianhan's investment, there would definitely be a show. As for this matter, it was forgotten as time passed. Now, everyone in the entertainment industry knew that Tian Shanshan had a sugar daddy supporting her. Moreover, he was the young and handsome heir of the Fu family. Many people said behind her back that Tian Shanshan had tricks up her sleeves, seducing Chui Murue's fiancé to her side now. Tian Shanshan was really troubled sometimes. She and Fu Tianhan were innocent, and there was no such thing as a mistress. Fu Tianhan's feelings for her were sympathy and pity. As for whether he loved her or not, Tian Shanshan did not dare to say. However, because of Fu Tianhan, Tian Shanshan went from being a person with no background to having someone to protect her. Tian Shanshan's career in the entertainment industry was also smoother. Sometimes life was so helpless. Not everyone who did something wrong could be punished and still live a prosperous life, with both fame and fortune. The Chui family company issued an announcement that the Chui family's product endorsements and company endorsements would not cooperate with Tian Shanshan in the future. The Chui family company was prohibited from cooperating with Tian Shanshan. The moment this announcement came out, it was a slap to Tian Shanshan's face, making her very embarrassed. The Chui family's company had just said that they would not cooperate with Tian Shanshan, and Tian Shanshan had endorsed the endorsement contract that Fu Tianhan had said that he wanted to terminate. He had already rescinded his endorsement contract, and now he was endorsing again. He was wantonly broadcasting it on the big screen in the middle of the square. The two clans felt like they were competing against each other. Even Mr. Chui, who usually did not show his emotions, smashed things. What does the Fu family mean? What does it mean? Dad, don't be angry. Take it slow. Ning Shu said lightly. Now that she was about to get married, others were the ones who were anxious. Anyway, if she did not get married, this marriage would not be successful, but she would definitely lose some flesh. Ning Shu continued to collect the shares and even poached a few small shareholders. He now had a lot of shares in his hands. Almost pawning the jewelry at home was not in vain. Of course, most of the money was given by Fu Tianhan. Using the money you gave me to buy your family's shares was simply awesome. The wedding date was getting closer and closer. Ning Shu was waiting for Fu Tianhan to lay his cards on the table for her. Finally, Fu Tianhan called. The two of them agreed to meet at the coffee shop next to the Fu family's company. Ning Shu slowly washed her face, brushed her teeth, changed her clothes, and put on makeup. 2 hours passed in a flash. When they drove to the coffee shop, Fu Tianhan was already very impatient and frequently looked at his watch. Fu Tianhan's snow-white face had turned green. Why are you only here now? Women have to tidy up when they go out, especially when they come to see you, Ning Shu said with a smile. Why are you looking for me? Is it about the marriage? Ning Shu asked for a glass of fruit juice and took a sip. I don't care about your relationship with Tian Shanshan at all, really. Fu Tianhan took a deep breath. Whether you believe it or not, Tian Shanshan and I are really innocent. As for why I helped Tian Shanshan, it was purely because of Tian Shanshan's situation. Ning Shu nodded. Of course I believe you. Since you said that there's nothing between the two of you, then let's get married. I believe you. He was so stubborn. He had fallen in love with Tian Shanshan and felt sorry for his fiancée. Was there a point in being so conflicted? Cui Murue, let's break off the engagement, Fu Tianhan said. Ning Shu took a sip of fruit juice. But didn't you say that it has nothing to do with Tian Shanshan? Why do you want to break off the engagement? Something happened between us. I don't think we can make it to the end. Fu Tianhan tried his best to speak gently. Since they were going to break up, he would definitely bear the consequences of breaking up. I'll try my best to make it up to you. Fuck, they were indeed a match made in heaven. Everyone said that they had to make it up to each other, but what about it? No, I definitely won't break off the engagement. Ning Shu shook his head and said, we won't be happy together. I hope you can find a man who treats you well. In the past, nothing happened to us, but now that something has happened, our relationship has changed. To be honest, it was normal for relationships to break up. Who could guarantee that they would only fall in love once in their lives? Even if they got married, they could still get a divorce. Fu Tianhan seemed to be pushing all the blame onto her. Ning Shu couldn't be bothered to salvage any feelings. He said to Fu Tianhan, then what do you want to compensate me for? With Tian Shanshan in front of me, the compensation isn't enough at all. What can you give me? Then what do you want? Fu Tianhan saw that Ning Shu was so easy to talk to and quickly asked, I'll try my best to satisfy you. Ning Shu crossed his chest. You can accept anything I say? Tell me. Fu Tianhan picked up his coffee and took a sip. Give me 20% of your company's shares, Ning Shu said directly. Fu Tianhan spat out the coffee in his mouth and wiped it with a tissue. He took a deep breath and said, 20%? Why don't you rob it? Even the major shareholders didn't have 20% of the shares. See, this is the compensation you mentioned. You're just like Tian Shanshan. You say you want to make it up to me, but you keep pushing it away. Tian Shanshan couldn't afford 20 million yuan, and Fu Tianhan couldn't afford 20% of the shares. Ning Shu sneered. Since you don't want to pay the price, then let's get married. Even if you interact with Tian Shanshan after marriage, I'll beat her up every time I see her. Fu Tianhan was speechless. When did you become like this? Fu Tianhan frowned at Ning Shu. You can't pay the price, so you said I changed. Why don't you say you changed? You fell in love with Tian Shanshan. Ning Shu carried his bag. If you want to break off the engagement, give me 20% of the shares in exchange. Sit down. We can talk again, Fu Tianhan said. I know the 20% you said is just asking for a sky-high price. So you're saying that you're determined to break off the engagement. Ning Shu sat down again. You like Tian Shanshan so much. But weren't you in love with her before? Chapter 2245. This is between us. Why do you always drag Tian Shanshan into this? After a long time, I realized that we're not suitable for each other, Fu Tianhan said. Is it because of time that your love has faded? Or is it because Tian Shanshan is pitiful and strong and independent that you found a sense of existence with Tian Shanshan? Ning Shu asked. Forget it. Since you want to break off the engagement, you have to pay something. Even if it's an engagement, it's still a contract. You've unilaterally violated the contract. 20% is impossible, Fu Tianhan said. The shares are the foundation of the company. I can't give them to you. Can I give them in cash? Of course. No, I only want the shares. 20% of the shares. Ning Shu shook his head. There's no 20%. Otherwise, I would insist on getting married. As for whether you love me or not, I don't care at all. I have food and clothes, I drive luxury cars, and I'm wearing branded clothes. As for you and Tian Shanshan, You can never be husband and wife in this lifetime. You can only be a wild couple. Are you willing to let Tian Shanshan be a mistress? Don't say that it has nothing to do with Tian Shanshan. I know you're in love with Tian Shanshan, Ning Shu said directly. Fu Tianhan said coldly, you really only want the shares. Of course. With the Fu family's shares, I can get money while lying down for the rest of my life. What a good thing. Moreover, using 20% of the shares in exchange for the love of you and Tian Shanshan is not expensive, right? True love is priceless. Can't you bear to part with it? Fu Tianhan looked at Ning Shu. 20% is impossible. I can consider 10%. Ning Shu sneered and laughed in her heart. The lowest price in her heart was 5%. If she could get 10%, she would already be a major shareholder of the company. Do Uncle and Auntie know about this? You promised me 10%. Did Uncle agree? Moreover, if Uncle and Auntie knew that you gave me 10% of the shares to let me help you and Tian Shanshan be together, do you think Uncle and Auntie would beat you to death? Don't worry about this. I gave you my shares, Fu Tianhan said. I see. Then it's an 18% deal. Ning Shu still wanted to fight for more. 10%, Fu Tianhan said. No more. 12% is my last offer. Otherwise, I won't cancel the engagement. I'll also target Tian Shanshan to the end and make it difficult for her to move forward in the entertainment industry. Ning Shu said with a straight face, a woman who almost killed me. Now, even my fiancé is gone. I can't take this lying down. If it weren't for the 12% shares, I would have fought to the death. Fu Tianhan looked at Ning Shu's serious expression. You're serious? Of course, if you were me and a man almost killed you, how would you feel if I had to marry him? Ning Shu said. She knew that Tian Shanshan was pitiful. Then 12%. Fu Tianhan decided. I'll get the lawyer to draft a contract. Ning Shu placed his hands on his hips and laughed in his heart. The price had far exceeded his expectations. It was simply awesome. Then wait here for the lawyer to send the contract. Once I get the shares, I'll cancel the engagement. Ning Shu drank his fruit juice and glanced at Fu Tianhan from the corner of his eye. He saw that Fu Tianhan's Adam's apple had become smaller. The two of them looked at each other speechlessly. They were about to get married, but now they were about to become strangers. About an hour later, the lawyer sent over the share transfer contract. Ning Shu took the contract and read it page by page, line by line. Of course, it took him some time. All right, I'll sign it. Ning Shu signed the contract and exchanged it with Fu Tianhan. Fu Tianhan said, You've got what you want, so go back and tell your father about the engagement. Don't worry. Since I've taken the money, I'll definitely abide by the contract. Ning Shu stuffed the contract into his bag and smiled at Fu Tianhan. I wish you and Tian Shanshan happiness. Fu Tianhan looked at the indescribable smile on Ning Shu's face inexplicably. After getting the contract, Ning Shu told Mr. Cui about not getting married. Mr. Cui disagreed. If you don't get married, what about the project? Dad, why do you want to work with the Fu family? You can take it yourself. Dad, be more ambitious. Including the shares he had accumulated, he had 15%. He could be considered a major shareholder. Fu Tianhan is willing to give up 12% of the shares because he doesn't want to marry me. So, I don't have to marry Fu Tianhan. Everything was fine. How did things develop to this point? Mr. Cui frowned. Ning Shu felt that it was already very good. At least he was still alive. A dead person was like a lamp going out. If he was dead, then there was really nothing left. After convincing Mr. Cui, Ning Shu told Fu Tianhan's parents about breaking off the engagement. He said that he couldn't stand such an insult and that Fu Tianhan didn't care about her at all. He wanted to be with the woman who almost killed her. In short, the engagement between the two families was cancelled. Even though Fu Tianhan's parents repeatedly urged him to stay, Ning Shu only said, It's Fu Tianhan who doesn't want to marry me. He even gave me 12% of the shares. 12% of the shares directly caused the Fu family to explode. Fu Tianhan's father directly gave Fu Tianhan a slap. 12% of the shares was a large amount. He didn't have to do anything and the annual dividends were very high. Wasn't it crazy to spend such a huge price to chase away the most suitable daughter-in-law of the Fu family? Just for an actress. An actress wanted to marry into a rich family. Dream on. How clean could the people in the entertainment industry be? Moreover, they were afraid of meeting someone who was shallow. No matter how much trouble the Fu family caused, Ning Shu was already preparing to remove Fu Tianhan from his position as CEO. As a major shareholder of the company, he had the right to condemn Fu Tianhan's actions. The two of them announced to the public that they had broken off the engagement. Ning Shu received many pitiful looks from the rich and noble ladies. Could he be any more cowardly to have his fiancée snatched away by a female celebrity? After breaking off the engagement, there were no more restrictions on each other. Fu Tianhan and Tian Shanshan were together. From then on, Tian Shanshan was also someone with a background. For a moment, Tian Shanshan was in the limelight in the entertainment industry. Tian Shanshan even brought Fu Tianhan to the hospital to visit her father on the hospital bed, saying that Fu Tianhan was their family's great benefactor. The shareholders of the Fu family company decided to hold a shareholders meeting. The content of the shareholders meeting was to target Fu Tianhan for using the company's money to invest recklessly. In the end, there was no return at all. They were to discuss whether Fu Tianhan could shoulder the burden of the company. As a major shareholder of the company, Ning Shu would naturally attend. If he wanted to pull Fu Tianhan down from the position of CEO, it would take some effort. Not only would he have to pull Fu Tianhan down, but he would also have to leave him with nothing. Chapter 2246. Fu Tianhan's current image was not good. He could not be considered a successful and trustworthy entrepreneur. After all, getting married would give people a sense of reliability. But now, before getting married, he had fallen out with his partner because of a female celebrity. Could he be any more willful? Therefore, Ning Shu received all kinds of gazes when he attended the shareholders' meeting. Ning Shu sat steadily in his chair and browsed through his phone. He looked at all kinds of gossip about Tian Shanshan on Weibo. Some said that Tian Shanshan and Fu Tianhan were close. In short, the gossip was all related to Fu Tianhan. Fu Tianhan was very popular in the entertainment industry now. The Fu family of three appeared. Fu Tianhan's mother had 5% of the shares, Fu Tianhan's father had 20% of the shares, and Fu Tianhan himself had 20% of the shares. Now, he only had 8% of the shares. Fu Tianhan's mother did not like Ning Shu. After all, as Mrs. Fu, she only had 5% of the shares. In the end, Ning Shu broke off the engagement and asked for 12% of the shares. Originally, the family of three stood at 45% of the company's shares. Now they had lost 12%. If anything happened to the company, it would affect the Fu family's management rights. The shareholders' meeting began. A few shareholders doubted Fu Tianhan's ability because the movie and television series that he had invested in had lost all his money. Could he manage the company well with such foresight? Ning Shu almost laughed out loud. These investments were all invested by Fu Tianhan to support Tian Shanshan. In order to prevent other investors from interfering, these investments were all undertaken by Fu Tianhan. They were investments in the trillions. A television series and a movie were not a small amount. In the end, the results were not satisfactory. They did not even recover their capital. The shareholders did not care if Fu Tianhan was acting cool or not. However, if he wanted to harm their interests, that was a big no-no. Some shareholders said that Fu Tianhan's position as CEO would be temporarily revoked. Everyone raised their hands to vote. A few shareholders raised their hands. Fu Tianhan's parents definitely did not raise their hands. Ning Shu thought about it and raised his hand as well. Then he received the Fu family's betrayed gaze. Wasn't he waiting for this day? Ning Shu completely ignored the Fu family's gaze. Because someone had abstained and the Fu family had die-hard shareholders in the company, the two sides were in a stalemate. Therefore, the shareholders' meeting had to continue. Ning Shu yawned and left the meeting room. He was stopped by Fu Tianhan's mother. She said to Ning Shu, "Child, how could you vote in favor? Don't tell me you're still holding a grudge because of the broken engagement? Didn't you give him 12% of the shares?" Ning Shu said, I'm also a major shareholder of the company, and Fu Tianhan's investment did not pay off. He didn't even get his capital back. He's still continuing to invest. He's taking money from us shareholders. Cutting off someone's money is like killing their parents. Fu Tianhan should calm down. The company stopped investing in Tian Shanshan and wanted Fu Tianhan to make up for the previous losses. Otherwise, Fu Tianhan would not be qualified to run the company. Wasn't this obvious? Fu Tianhan was very angry. Since it was an investment, it was very likely that he would make a fortune, but it was also very likely that he would lose everything. Since it was an investment, then everything was not fixed. Now, these bloodsuckers on the board of directors actually wanted to remove him from his position. What a joke! Tian Shanshan's filming was also forced to stop. She was directly cut in half because she did not have the money to continue filming. The other production teams did not dare to rashly invite Tian Shanshan to film. It was very dangerous to invite Tian Shanshan. After all, Tian Shanshan's reputation was not good now, and she had a financial tycoon behind her. It was like inviting a great Buddha back, and it was not easy to serve her. Without Fu Tianhan's support, Tian Shanshan had fallen to the point where she had no show to film. Under the pressure of the shareholders and Ning Shu, the company directly withdrew Tian Shanshan's endorsement. Tian Shanshan's advertisement was taken off the shelves and replaced with another female celebrity. Moreover, this female celebrity usually did not get along with Tian Shanshan. Tian Shanshan's heart was filled with bitterness. This was a fight between the big shots, and a small shrimp like her was implicated. This was revenge. It was Miss Cui taking revenge on her and Fu Tianhan. Fu Tianhan was so angry that he laughed. It seemed like she was waiting for him here. No wonder Cui Murui broke off the engagement so easily and cheated away 12% of the shares. Now, she was turning around to deal with him. She was forcing him to lower his head. Now, his mother said that she wanted him to break off contact with Tian Shanshan and marry Cui Murui. Otherwise, the Fu family's management of the company would be shaken. He could not run the company and could only get dividends. This was not okay. Dad, Mom, do you know how treacherous that woman Cui Murui is? Fu Tianhan sneered. I will never marry such a woman. Treacherous. If you weren't bewitched by her beauty and insisted on pestering that female celebrity and even wanted to break off the engagement, she would have had the chance to extort you. Only such a scheming woman can protect the Fu family's company with you. Fu Tianhan's father said with a cold face, if you marry Cui Murui, the 12% shares will come back. Hee, I have a vicious woman sleeping by my side. I'm afraid I won't be able to sleep. A woman doesn't even have the basic kindness. I won't be able to spend the rest of my life with such a woman. Fu Tianhan would never take Cui Murui again. The more they forced him, the more he did not want to marry Cui Murui. Back then, he would rather transfer 12% of his shares to break off the engagement. There was no reason for him to turn back now. Cui Murui's image in his heart was getting fainter and fainter. What she was like in the past was already blurred. He remembered that she was a kind, gentle, and understanding person in the past, but now, his mind was filled with her sloppy and scheming appearance. Fu Tianhan privately tried to rope in shareholders to vote for him, and there were also people trying to rope in shareholders. Both sides fought to win the next shareholders' meeting. Perhaps he had been schemed against by Ning Shu, but Fu Tianhan did not come to look for Ning Shu. The other shareholders were all looking for him, but they did not come to look for Ning Shu. They seemed to have a backbone. It did not matter. In any case, she would always vote in favor of removing Fu Tianhan from the position of CEO. On the other hand, Fu Tianhan's mother privately met with Ning Shu. She used the previous friendship between the two families and Ning Shu's feelings for Fu Tianhan to promise that Fu Tianhan would definitely marry her. Therefore, she either abstained or voted against it. In short, she could not pull Fu Tianhan down. Although Fu Tianhan's father was the chairman, Fu Tianhan had been removed. In the future, this company would still be handed over to Fu Tianhan. He definitely could not be removed. Ning Shu said, I'm doing this for the company, not for personal feelings. Moreover, Fu Tianhan clearly knows that it's a trap, but he still wants to invest. This is not putting the interests of the shareholders in his heart. Then we should elect a CEO who can lead the company. Ma Ning wanted Fu Tianhan to get lost. /BK. Chapter 2247. Ning Shu did not say a word to Fu Tianhan's mother. When the shareholders' meeting was held again, Ning Shu still voted in favor of removing Fu Tianhan from the position of CEO. Fu Tianhan's mother immediately looked at Ning Shu with a piercing gaze. There was one more vote in favor than against, and Fu Tianhan was removed by a difference of one vote. Fu Tianhan's position as CEO was gone, and the board of directors elected the son of a major shareholder to become CEO and take over Fu Tianhan's position. Not only did Fu Tianhan lose his position as CEO, but he also had to make up for the money he had lost because of the investment. Otherwise, Fu Tianhan would be considered misappropriating public funds. Every time Fu Tianhan wanted to invest, he would directly ask the finance department to allocate money. He would use the company's money to invest in several movies and television dramas, especially big-budget movies. A movie was almost 100 million yuan, but the effect of putting it into the market was not very good. Then Fu Tianhan would need hundreds of millions to fill these loopholes. When Fu Tianhan's father found out that his son had spent so much money on a female celebrity, he gave Fu Tianhan a slap in the face. He was simply a prodigal. If Fu Tianhan was in the entertainment industry, it would be fine. But if he invested in it, there would be no splash. Even if he wanted to keep a female celebrity, it would be fine to give her a few million or even 10 million yuan. But investing so much to support such a female celebrity made Fu Tianhan's father so angry that he almost had a cerebral hemorrhage. Now that he wanted to fill up the company's accounts, he had to take out his family's assets. He had to beat a drowning dog. In the past, Fu Tianhan had taken out all the accounts from the company and let Fu Tianhan settle them. Otherwise, he would be embezzling public funds and going to the police station to drink tea. Fu Tianhan's mother said indignantly, "It's all Cui Murue's fault. Now that she's so heartless to vote in favor, I talked to her in private and voted against it. I didn't expect her to vote in favor. It was just a difference of one vote. If Cui Murue had voted against it, Fu Tianhan would not have been removed from his position as CEO. Is there any use in saying this now?" Fu Tianhan's father rubbed his brows. "I thought I could trust you with the company, but in the end, you ended up in this state because of a female celebrity. You even fell out with the Cui family. It's fine if you fell out with them, but you even gave Cui Murue so many shares. You're putting a rope around your neck. Let's settle the company's accounts first. Otherwise, we will have to bear the crime of embezzlement. It will be difficult for us to inherit the company in the future. As I said, shares are life." Useless thing. Fu Tianhan's father really expected better from him. Let's put aside the matter of the female celebrity and interact more with Cui Murue now. I spent so much to draw a clear line with Cui Murue, and now you want me to go back to her. Is there really nothing wrong with that? Fu Tianhan would never look for Cui Murue again. Cui Murue was no longer the Cui Murue he liked. He would never marry Cui Murue again in this life. It was fine as long as the company's matters were settled, but if he was pestered by someone, he would not be able to live in peace for the rest of his life. Not to mention that this was unfair to Tian Shanshan. Cui Murue's family was also rich. If she deliberately targeted Tian Shanshan's life would definitely not be easy. Now, the Cui family had to take out a lot of money to make up for the investment losses, but suddenly taking out so much money still made the Fu family feel a little uncomfortable. If you need any money in the future, take it out from your own account. Don't pay from the company. If you want to keep a small celebrity, then use your own money to keep her. Fu Tianhan, who did not have a job, was very free. He went shopping with Tian Shanshan, cooked and ate together, and then went to see Tian Shanshan's father. There was a warmth and sweetness in it. Tian Shanshan felt very guilty. It was because of her that Fu Tianhan lost his job. Fu Tianhan said that it had nothing to do with Tian Shanshan. Ning Shu knew about the two of them, but he did not appear in front of them. If love was gone, it was gone. If he fell in love with someone else, he fell in love with someone else. He could not pull it back. Sometimes, love could not be measured by right or wrong. Fu Tianhan might know that this was unfair to his fiancée, but he fell in love. Love could not be shifted by his own will. The relationship between the Cui family and the Fu family had already collapsed. The project that they had previously discussed had already stopped. However, because Ning Shu was a major shareholder of the Cui family's company, the new CEO and the Cui family's project reached a consensus. Of course, Fu Tianhan had nothing to do with this. The new CEO had just taken office and was eager to have results to stabilize his position as the CEO. Therefore, Ning Shu's suggestion was exactly what the new CEO wanted. If the cooperation was successful, both families would have huge profits. Ning Shu was basically collecting money from both sides. The Cui family had shares and dividends. The Cui family was her family's company, so she naturally had shares. This feeling of sitting and collecting money was really too good. As a shareholder of the company, it was very easy for Ning Shu to check the accounts. He also found out that there were many problems with the accounts. These problems would be filled in by Fu Tianhan. Fu Tianhan was speechless. This was a scam. This was targeting him. He might as well target him and not Tian Shanshan. Tian Shanshan had no status and no status. If he targeted Tian Shanshan, he would force Tian Shanshan to death. In order to fill in the company's accounts, Fu Tianhan had spent a lot of money. Basically, every shareholder had dug out money from the company. The accounts were all handled by the finance department, but once they were dug out, all the accounts would be placed on his head. It was simply a scam. However, who asked Fu Tianhan to be caught red-handed? If he did not fill in these accounts, he would be framed for embezzling public funds. It was probably because the Fu family was in dire straits that someone's ambition had arisen. Now, they wanted to beat Fu Tianhan while he was down. They wanted to make Fu Tianhan unable to make a comeback and seize the management rights of this company. The new CEO was a young man. His father was a major shareholder of the company and had a lot of shares in his hands. That was why he was elected as the CEO of the company. The CEO found Ning Shu to cooperate, and Ning Shu agreed without thinking. Following that, Fu Tianhan was arrested by the police. The reason was that he had embezzled public funds. When would he be able to come out? That would have to wait until the police investigated thoroughly. Because of this matter, the stock of the Fu family's company plummeted. Even Ning Shu's shares of the Cui family shrank by a lot. When the stock price fell, it was to dig out the hearts of these shareholders. All of them were cursing Fu Tianhan. What exactly were they doing? When the stock price fell, the shareholders sold one after another, causing the company's stock price to fall further and further. It was as if they were about to sell out. Ning Shu felt that the new CEO was using the seven injures fist, hurting others and himself. He used this method to completely destroy the Fu family's prestige in the company. Although Fu Tianhan might be able to get out of the police station safely in the end, the possibility of him being in charge of the company's management rights was very small. Chapter 2248. Everything that could be solved with money was a small matter. Besides, the shares in Ning Shu's hands were given to him by Fu Tianhan. Even if they fell, it did not matter. Ning Shu did not feel any heartache at all. When the stock price fell, the new CEO bought shares at a low price. There were also some small shareholders who saw that the situation was not good and directly sold their shares. They were either eaten by Ning Shu or taken by the new CEO of the company. The Fu family's shares were no longer the largest, and the shares in their hands were already cheap. In the blink of an eye, the Fu family's assets had shrunk by more than half. Fu Tianhan's situation in prison was very bad because Fu Tianhan had a red face and white teeth. Under the effect of hormones, Fu Tianhan was really beautiful. Those hungry prisoners were all thinking about Fu Tianhan's butt. They pressed Fu Tianhan under their bodies and sneered, "Why are you so short and small? Could it be that you can't do it?" Fu Tianhan was extremely disgusted by being touched by others and could not react at all. However, these men were still teasing him. "Tikiske, you look like a dog but you're actually so small." The vulgarities in the prisoners' mouths were unbearable to look at. These people had all received money, so they had to do things well and teach Fu Tianhan a good lesson. Fu Tianhan's face turned red. That's not right. His ability was very strong in the past. Why was there a reverse growth? Why was he getting smaller and smaller? What was wrong with his body? Fu Tianhan asked for a checkup, but he was mercilessly rejected. With so many debts, even if they were found out, Fu Tianhan would have to stay in prison for a few days. Tian Shanshan saw on the news that Fu Tianhan had been detained and was at a loss. She did not know how to save him, so she could only come to Ning Shu. Tian Shanshan waited for Ning Shu at the entrance of the Cui family's company. She waited for an entire day. When she saw Ning Shu's car, she pounced forward to block the car with her body. Ning Shu sneered and rushed towards Tian Shanshan. Tian Shanshan's pupils dilated as she watched the car rush towards her. She could not move at all. The Grim Reaper blew cold air into her ear, causing the blood in her body to freeze. Just as the car was about to hit her leg, it stopped abruptly. Tian Shanshan's legs turned to jelly as she sat on the ground, looking terrified. Ning Shu got out of the car and looked at Tian Shanshan. How is it? How does it feel to face death? Tian Shanshan panted heavily. She was still in shock and her face was pale. She almost cried. I'm sorry, I didn't want to bump into you. Now that something has happened to Fu Tianhan, I can only look for you. Oh, Fu Tianhan moved so much money just to support you. Now that he's locked up, I'm not a big deal. How can I save him? Fu Tianhan and I are really innocent. There is no physical entanglement, Tian Shanshan said. Then it's a mental entanglement. I've already broken off the engagement with him. You don't have to come looking for me. It was a pity that this was a society governed by law. Otherwise, he would just kill himself and give him a taste of his own medicine. Ning Shu directly blocked Tian Shanshan's resources in the entertainment industry. Tian Shanshan could not film television dramas or movies. Even if she wanted to film, no one would look for her. When Tian Shanshan's management company saw that Tian Shanshan's financier had been detained, they slowly started to freeze Tian Shanshan. They did not give Tian Shanshan any resources and did not equip her with a car manager. Moreover, Tian Shanshan's driver's license had been revoked and she would not be able to drive on the road for the rest of her life. Tian Shanshan slowly retired from being a popular actress. Most importantly, Tian Shanshan had no income now. If she did not have any jobs, she would not have any income. What should she do about her father's illness? Although she had savings, her father's had not been found yet. When she had the surgery, it would be another large sum of money. Moreover, his illness was repeated. She did not know if his body could accept the surgery. Fu Tianhan was detained and she was also frozen by the company. Tian Shanshan was so worried about her family's livelihood that she did not know what to do. She felt like she was at a dead end. After a few days of being ravaged by his chrysanthemum, Fu Tianhan was finally released. The first thing Fu Tianhan did when he was released from prison was to go to the hospital for a checkup. Why was his body in such a condition? His was slightly bulging as if it was developing. It hurt when he touched it. The doctor took a look and through the blood test, he concluded that he had ingested a large amount of estrogen, causing the male hormones in his body to decrease and showing female characteristics. Estrogen? Fu Tianhan frowned. How did he ingest estrogen? Where did you ingest it from? Fu Tianhan asked. Food is unlikely. It could also be pills that are rich in estrogen, such as birth control pills. Fuck, Fu Tianhan was furious. The first thing he thought of was the chicken soup that Cui Murui had fed him. He directly confronted Ning Shu. When Ning Shu heard about birth control pills, he was dumbfounded and speechless. He looked at Fu Tianhan. Why did you take birth control pills? Heh, you gave me birth control pills. There were birth control pills in the chicken soup, Fu Tianhan said with a dark face. The doctor said that it had already affected his fertility. Tian Shanshan gave me that chicken soup. I gave it to you because I didn't want to drink it. That means Tian Shanshan put birth control pills in the chicken soup. Women who take birth control pills can't have children. What kind of intentions does Tian Shanshan have? Ning Shu was furious. I thought she was so kind as to make me chicken soup. I want to call the police. Tian Shanshan is too vicious. She wants me to not be able to have children. Ning Shu sneered. At that time, I wanted to pour the chicken soup away, but you would say that I wasn't kind and forgiving. I couldn't drink the chicken soup, so I let you drink it. I didn't expect her to add birth control pills in it. Fu Tianhan was originally here to denounce him, but he was choked by Ning Shu's words. You were the one who put the birth control pills in it. It definitely couldn't have been Tian Shanshan. Hee, call the police. Let's see what the police say. It's because I didn't forgive her that she put birth control pills in the soup. Ning Shu picked up the phone and called the police. Fu Tianhan snatched the phone and smashed it. Cui Murue, I won't argue with you about this. Fu Tianhan was worried that the police would drag Tian Shanshan out again. The people in prison were extremely vicious. What do you mean you won't argue with me? First, you almost killed me, and then you gave me birth control pills. Even if you argue with me, I still have to argue with you. Scram. Ning Shu took his bag and left. He immediately called the police. The reason was that Tian Shanshan had poisoned him. Using birth control pills could be considered poisoning. Although it wouldn't kill, taking too much would make a woman unable to have children. Her thoughts were equally vicious. Tian Shanshan was at a loss. She was detained by the police and locked up in the detention center. After Fu Tianhan was locked up, Tian Shanshan was also detained. One after the other, it was very interesting. Cui Murue, do you have to be so aggressive? Fu Tianhan was about to explode when he saw Tian Shanshan being detained. Chapter 2249. If we don't investigate the matter clearly, you'll say that I drugged you. I can't bear this responsibility. Let the police investigate it clearly, Ning Shu said directly. She's going to ruin my qualifications to be a mother without me knowing. What right does she have to do that? Fu Tianhan gritted his teeth. Cui Murue, we still don't know who drugged me, yet you're calling the police. We just don't know who drugged you, so we have to call the police to investigate. Ning Shu said, only women take birth control pills. Giving women contraceptives is punishable by death. Fu Tianhan said, Cui Murue, you're really too vicious. Ning Shu said, thank you for the compliment. Because the chicken soup had already been eaten by Fu Tianhan, he had already pooped. The evidence had already been destroyed. The only evidence was Fu Tianhan's case. It was endocrine disorder and he had ingested a lot of estrogen. Even the hospital's surveillance cameras did not show any abnormalities. There was no scene of Ning Shu drugging him. In short, it had been too long, and the case was in a stalemate. On the surface, it was indeed Tian Shanshan who had drugged him, and it was not good for Tian Shanshan's situation. Fu Tianhan had no choice but to release Tian Shanshan on bail and not let her stay in jail. However, Ning Shu did not allow Tian Shanshan to be released on bail. When questioned by the police, Tian Shanshan insisted that she had not drugged him. How could she have drugged him? She had made the chicken soup to make up for it. How could she have put birth control pills in it? Moreover, the chicken soup had been eaten by Fu Tianhan. How could this be possible? Could it be the person who made the chicken soup? Sometimes, when she was too busy, she would ask someone to help her make the chicken soup. Could it be that someone had drugged him? Tian Shanshan felt like her head was about to explode. This was an undeserved disaster. She would not harm Fu Tianhan and Cui Murue. Then, was Cui Murue the one who drugged him? But why did she give it to Fu Tianhan? Cui Murue should love Fu Tianhan. She was willing to let Fu Tianhan be hurt? Because the case was in a stalemate, Tian Shanshan could not be released from prison. There was only one way to get out of prison, and that was for Ning Shu to stop pursuing the matter. Fu Tianhan had no choice but to beg Ning Shu. What do you want to let Tian Shanshan go? How about this? Give me 8% of your shares and I'll let Tian Shanshan go. Won't mind if Tian Shanshan drugged me? Ning Shu said. Fu Tianhan had 20% of the shares in his hands. Previously he had given 12%, and now there was only 8% left. Ning Shu directly wanted the remaining 8%. Fu Tianhan sneered. Aren't you too greedy? You want 8% of the shares. She wanted his shares, and he was the one who drank the chicken soup. Chui Murue didn't lose anything. Havito t to be used to have, to be used to. Have to be used to be to, t to be used to be have to be to have to be to have to be to. Ning Shu spread his hands. Tian Shanshan will suffer for one more day. Besides, the Fu family's stock price has fallen to such a state. It's not worth anything anymore. Fu Tianhan took a deep breath. Will you let Tian Shanshan go if I give you 8% of the shares? Ning Shu nodded. I'm a very trustworthy person. You used 12% of the shares to get me to break off the engagement. I broke off the engagement. Now that you're giving me 8% of the shares, of course I'll let her go. Fu Tianhan agreed to transfer 8% of the shares. Ning Shu suddenly asked curiously, why can you do so much for Tian Shanshan? This was love. He was willing to give up everything for the other party. Because I like her, Fu Tianhan said. You won't understand this feeling. Ning Shu nodded. He looked at the transfer agreement and signed it. 8% of the shares were in his hands. Now, all the shares in Fu Tianhan's hands were transferred to her. 20%. That was a big shareholder. I hope you can keep your promise, Fu Tianhan said. Ning Shu nodded and informed the police to withdraw the charges. Tian Shanshan was fine. At this point, the Fu family only had 25% of the company's shares. They no longer had any autonomy in the company. At most, they were just a shareholder. The company had changed owners. There was only a small dividend every year, and the Fu family's power was greatly reduced. Fu Tianhan's parents were so angry that they wanted to kill this unfilial son. They actually transferred all the shares in his hands. However, Fu Tianhan still insisted on marrying Tian Shanshan. The wedding was held in a very low-key manner, but Fu Tianhan's parents did not accept this daughter-in-law, especially Fu Tianhan's mother. She even spoke ill of Tian Shanshan. It was all because of this woman that her son had become like this. He was originally the heir of the company, but now he could only spend his days idle. Fu Tianhan's mother could not do anything to Fu Tianhan. She let Tian Shanshan work every day. The nanny at home had been fired. She let Tian Shanshan do everything, wash clothes, cook, and clean the house. The family lived in a villa. There were so many rooms, and every inch of the floor had to be mopped by Tian Shanshan. The family's clothes and 3 meals a day were all Tian Shanshan's work. It was fine if she did the work, but Tian Shanshan still had to face her mother-in-law's difficulties every day. She said that Tian Shanshan was from the entertainment industry. Who knew how many men dreamed of marrying into a wealthy family? Tian Shanshan endured all these difficulties. Tian Shanshan was best at enduring. She had endured all her mother-in-law's difficulties. She hoped that her attitude of giving in would let her mother-in-law see her heart. There was a conflict between the mother-in-law and daughter-in-law, but Tian Shanshan did not say a word. This made her mother-in-law seem very mean. She was looking for trouble for no reason, which made Fu Tianhan very dissatisfied. He had already married Tian Shanshan. What did his mother mean by doing this? Fu Tianhan was very dissatisfied with his mother and always made things difficult for his wife. Fu Tianhan's mother was furious. Her son had separated from her because of this woman. The son that she had painstakingly given birth to was now siding with another woman. After causing the Fu family to become like this, she targeted Tian Shanshan even more. Tian Shanshan still compromised. She silently swallowed all the grievances she had suffered, and her mother-in-law became even more domineering. Fu Tianhan's mother was the wife of a wealthy family. In the end, she could not stand Tian Shanshan's look of being wronged and silently swallowing it. She looked like an abused daughter-in-law. Fu Tianhan's mother did not target her anymore. She only whispered in Fu Tianhan's ear that the Fu family had become like this because of Tian Shanshan. Otherwise, Fu Tianhan would still be the CEO of the company, and Fu Tianhan's father would have become an empty chairman. The company had become someone else's, and he had already married the heir of the Chui family, Chui Murue. Chapter 2250. Chui Murue had wealth, looks, and status. Now that she was attending all kinds of business big shots gatherings, she was already preparing to inherit the Chui family's company. Fu Tianhan's mother always nagged in Fu Tianhan's ear. In the beginning, Fu Tianhan did not care at all. However, after hearing too much and hearing too many hints in his heart, Fu Tianhan's heart felt a little uncomfortable. However, for Tian Shanshan, Fu Tianhan had sacrificed a lot. He repeatedly told himself in his heart that Tian Shanshan was the person he loved. Everything was worth it, worth it. When a person was weighing whether it was worth it or not, they already felt that it was not worth it. Tian Shanshan tried her best to be a good wife and mother, hoping that one day, everyone could get along peacefully and take a step back. However, her mother-in-law hated her more and more, and even her husband started to treat her coldly. Her mother-in-law scolded her for being a chicken that could not lay eggs. Tian Shanshan's heart ached. Sometimes, Fu Tianhan's condition was not enough to make her pregnant. However, Tian Shanshan endured all of this. Even if she endured it, she would only cry silently and then put on a virtuous appearance. Fu Tianhan, who was suffering in his heart, had nothing to do now. Without his job, he had to find something to rely on every day. Therefore, Fu Tianhan was led astray by a group of bad friends. He liked to go to bars, drink red wine, indulge in luxury and many women. A place like a bar was filled with all kinds of people. Fu Tianhan was actually poisoned. Once he touched this kind of thing, his family would be ruined and his wife and children would be separated. Someone probably saw that Fu Tianhan was rich and generous. Someone secretly put this thing in the fruit wine and caused Fu Tianhan to be infected. That group of bad friends brought Fu Tianhan here to get some money from Fu Tianhan. Moreover, there was someone behind them who wanted to mess with Fu Tianhan. It was a complete accident that he got poisoned. Moreover, it could make Fu Tianhan happy in that aspect, so Fu Tianhan really liked this kind of thing. Pornography, gambling, and drugs could distort a person's mind and make their behavior different. In order to buy these things, Fu Tianhan took money from home and sold his mother's or Tian Shanshan's jewelry. He even opened Fu Tianhan's father's safe and took the money in shares. Ning Shu and Tao Li sat in the coffee shop, stirring the coffee and said, "You're quite ruthless to let Fu Tianhan get infected with this kind of thing. Once infected with this kind of thing, one would be crippled." President Li was the new president of the company. He was gentle and good-looking, but she didn't expect him to be so cruel and merciless. "Miss Chui, I only gave the former president a place to spend his time. I didn't let him get involved in this kind of thing. After all, his family is still a major shareholder of the company. If anything happens, the company will also be implicated." President Li took a sip of coffee and glanced at Ning Shu. "Miss Chui, would you consider it? I want to marry you," President Li said to Ning Shu with a faint smile. "Why?" Ning Shu asked. "Is it because of benefits or because of love?" "Because of benefits and also because of love." President Li said, "Don't worry, I won't mess around with a female celebrity in the entertainment industry." Ning Shu laughed. "You're quite frank, but I'm going to inherit my family's company, so I might not marry you. That doesn't matter. You'll inherit your company, and I'll be the president of JP Morgan. This has nothing to do with whether we get married or not," President Li said. "Consider me. Are you interested in the 20% shares in my hands?" Ning Shu asked. "You definitely won't believe me if I say no. Of course, I hope that my position as the president can be stable to prevent the Fu family from making a comeback. I don't want to see Fu Tianhan high and mighty again." President Li said very straightforwardly, "I hope you'll consider it." Ning Shu nodded. "Then I'll think about it." It depended on the consideration of the client. She didn't have to marry President Li. "I'm serious. Please consider it seriously. I won't hurt you for other women like Fu Tianhan did. I can't guarantee how much I love you in this life, but I can guarantee that I won't embarrass you in this life. Husband and wife can also be partners. I'll respect you like a partner," President Li said. Ning Shu was speechless. "I'll think about it," Ning Shu said. President Li stood up and looked at Ning Shu seriously. "I hope you can consider it seriously. Don't brush me off." No matter what the result is, as long as it's the result of your careful consideration, I'll accept it. Alright, I'll really consider it seriously. Ning Shu thought for a moment and said, it's hard to guarantee that you won't cause a scene like Fu Tianhan. You're about to get married, yet you still cause such a scene. I won't, because I know how much my father has sacrificed to make me the president. This situation doesn't allow me to be willful. President Li Ning Shu smiled. There was actually a small dimple. Ning Shu nodded. According to the client's net worth, he would be able to live a good life even if he didn't get married. Marriage was nothing more than finding someone to rely on. The client was rich and could earn money. He could do whatever he wanted. As for marriage, it was not a necessity in life. As for whether he got married or not, as for a cooperative marriage, he might as well not have it. What could he get out of it? As for this matter, he would leave it to the client to figure it out. What he needed to do now was to find the world's origin. Ning Shu would go to the auction house whenever he had nothing to do. He wanted to see if there was anything good there. In the end, the auction house sold either antiques or jewelry. There was no world's origin at all. Therefore, it was impossible to look for things from the auction house. Ning Shu decided to look for things from the tombs. What if there were some strange things in the tombs of the ancient times? However, he did not find anything. It was just some jade pendants, pots and pans, or some rotten food crops. Ning Shu did not take a fancy to some of the gold, silver, and jewelry. The world's origin. Knowing that Ning Shu liked these things, President Li sent some antiques. Ning Shu returned them and said, "Don't affect my consideration. If you send these things now, it will affect my consideration. It's not like I can't buy them." President Li was speechless. Other than looking for the world's origin, Ning Shu also paid attention to the Fu family's matters. He knew that Tian Shanshan was doing test tube babies now. Because she could not get pregnant after getting married, Tian Shanshan was dragged to the hospital by Fu Tianhan's mother to do test tube babies. However, they failed many times because Fu Tianhan's fertility was really weak, so they could only keep experimenting. In addition, Fu Tianhan was not doing well now. Fu Tianhan's father had already given up on him and wanted to nurture a grandson. Chapter 2252. Name, Ning Shu. Age, 27. Rank, Super Mission Taker. Contribution card, 228 plus 15, 10 million points per contribution card. Soul, 16 plus 2 health, 14 plus 2 wisdom, 16 plus 2 luck, 18 plus 2 charm, 11 plus 2 spirit, 19 plus 2 martial strength, 17 plus 2 aptitude, 17 plus 2 faith, 2183084 plus 8000 merit, 146169 soul strength, 81 plus 5 authorization ticket, none pure heart, none law comprehended, water law incarnation, constructed world, suspected to be the world of reincarnation items, calm aura, calming pill, faith aura, amulet 4, upgraded amulet plus 2 honorary titles, goddess of war, selfless ancestor skills, 5th ring shooting technique, intermediate fighting technique, intermediate level poison technique, beginner level business management knowledge, beginner level code programming, beginner level lawyer skill, sage ghost catching skill, beginner level cooking skill, intermediate level embroidery skill, trash hypnosis aura, mother of the world, queen's blessing, sister model worker, Qinshi's blessing, leader aura, grass blessing, lifelong friend, Miao Miao Miao's blessing, life-saving hand, Zhu Su Nyang's blessing, founding woman, Qin Ermiai's blessing, lawful beauty, Qin Ning's blessing, bane of the blood clan, Jasmine's blessing, transcending race communication, Bai San Yang's blessing, brave heart, Wang Ying's blessing, bloodthirsty tyrant, and Ai Bingyan's blessing. After adding the attribute points, Ning Shu prepared to go to the law space to search for the origin of the world and study the law of space. If he didn't even learn the surface of the law of space, it would be difficult to enter the second layer. No one knew how long it would take to enter the second layer. What if his soul was destroyed? Spending more time was better than entering the second layer recklessly. Who knew what was in the second layer and what kind of world it was? The people who lived in the first level were quite curious about the second level and did not leave behind any information. It seemed to be a one-way journey. After entering the second level, there was no way to return to the first level. No one knew what the second level was like. Some people couldn't bear to part with the riches and status of the first level and didn't go to the second level. There were also people who couldn't bear to part with the riches and status of the first level and wanted to enter the second level. Some people even died on the way to the second level. Ning Shu didn't want to die on the road, so he had to learn the laws of space. That way, he could avoid the spatial blades. When Ning Shu arrived at Water City, he first checked the enchantment around Water City and arranged it. Then, he went to see Tion's auction house. Tion didn't seem to be there. The one who received Ning Shu was the steward of the auction house. Ning Shu went straight to the point and asked if there were any world origins, especially those of the light and darkness attributes. The manager said that there wasn't any world source. Ning Shu asked again. The price was negotiable, but the manager said that there wasn't any. Since they were doing business, how could they not do business? The problem was that they didn't have any goods. Ning Shu was a little disappointed. He went to other cities to look. The Taoist found an earth attribute world origin, but she didn't need it at all. Moreover, it cost 120,000 merit points. She didn't have that many merit points. She might as well just rob. However, Ning Shu sent a message to Mei Ziqing, saying that there was an earth attribute world origin here. He asked if Mei Ziqing needed it. Mei Ziqing had found the carrier of the world and now needed the world origin. When Mei Ziqing received the message, she hurried over. She was in spirit form, but she gave off the feeling that she was panting. Where is it? Mei Ziqing looked at the shop and was dumbfounded when she asked for the price. 120,000 merit points. How long would it take for her to save that much? Moreover, she didn't have that much money on her. The atmosphere, it was a little awkward. Of course, Mei Ziqing wanted the world origin, but the price was too awkward. In the past, it only cost 40,000 to 50,000 merit points. Now, it cost more than 100,000. Ning Shu shrugged. I don't have any merit points either. She had spent most of her merit points. Moreover, she had just lent Mei Ziqing 400,000 merit points. Mei Ziqing didn't plan to ask Ning Shu. She didn't have the face to ask. Once or twice was fine. I'll take a loan, Mei Ziqing said. There were so few world origins now. If she missed it this time, she didn't know when she would find it again. Loan sharks. Ning Shu raised her eyebrows. There were loan sharks here as well. People would always be tight on money. The compound interest was very scary. Mei Ziqing owed him money. Now that she had to take a loan, she was really in debt. Ning Shu felt that he was lucky to have found a few world origins. After all, he wasn't in debt. Although he had to tighten his belt to survive. To be strong, one needed to accumulate resources and pay a lot. However, as long as one succeeded, the rewards would be 10 times more. The harder it was, the greater the rewards. Ning Shu knew that one could take a loan from the system store. The interest was high, but the interest was low. It was the same as a bank. However, this was Mei Ziqing's problem. It had nothing to do with her. When she saw this, she felt that Mei Ziqing needed it. As for whether to buy it or not, it wasn't her responsibility. She didn't have any merit points. Recently, the price of goods had skyrocketed. She spent money like water. In the end, Mei Ziqing took out a loan to obtain the Earth Attribute World's origin. Once he obtained the world's origin, Mei Ziqing fused it with the bead. Mei Ziqing kept the bead and said to Ning Shu, "Thanks, I'll treat you to something. You're so poor. How can you afford to treat me?" Everything here used merit and faith energy. With Mei Ziqing's current debt, she had to tighten her belt. How could she treat him? Luckily, she didn't need to eat 3 meals a day in her soul state. Otherwise, she wouldn't know how hard life would be. Ning Shu knew how it felt to be poor. I'll eat something cheap. Anyway, I'm not afraid of itching anymore. Mei Ziqing smiled. Mei Ziqing owed more than 500,000 merit points. I'm not going to eat. I have something to do. Oh right, Did you contact Xiaohua? The light and darkness attributes were too hard to find. Ning Shu still had some hope for the 2 items on Xiaohua. Don't mention it. Mei Ziqing waved her hand. The signal is very weak now. He probably ran too far away. I'm worried that Panchen will lead Xiaohua astray. I don't think so. Ning Shu said a few words to Mei Ziqing and left. Since he couldn't find the world origin, he would go mining to raise the little seedling in the world of reincarnation. The world of reincarnation was also considered a world. Ning Shu passed by the silver-haired man's consultation room. There was no one inside. Seemed like he was still very busy. He didn't know how long the prices were going to go crazy like a wild horse out of its anus. Chapter 2253. Ning Shu tried to comprehend the law of space. Although it wasn't of any use, and she was still like a fly bumping its head randomly, she still sighed in her heart. The law of space was indeed a high-level law like the law of time. It was so profound and hard to understand. Since he could not understand, Ning Shu carried the shovel and went to mine. He was not in a hurry to go to the 2nd level anyway. There were still many resources on the 1st level that he had not obtained. Ning Shu walked into the black hole and entered the 9-palace mountain. He then went to the door of the 2nd young master's house. Ning Shu felt that this young master was indeed the 2nd young master. He was really stupid. Ning Shu knocked on the door. The servant, Li Si, opened the door. When he saw Ning Shu, his eyes lit up like big light bulbs. "Senior, please come in." Li Si stepped aside to let Ning Shu in. As Ning Shu walked in, he asked Li Si, who was following closely behind him, "Where is your young master?" "He is cultivating. He should be out soon." Li Si said, "I will go get him." Ning Shu sat on a chair and shook his legs in boredom. The 2nd young master floated in like a ghost. Although he was cultivating, he looked no different from his previous soul. It was as if a gust of wind could blow him over. The 2nd young master's face looked like he had been constipated for half a year. He saw Ning Shu's soul. Even the dress was very clear. The fabric of the dress shone with a little light. Looking at his own soul, the 2nd young master's face looked like he had been constipated for a year. "I have something to ask you this time. I have spirit liquid here. Go and exchange it for soul stones. I will give you 10% of the soul stones." Ning Shu placed the ring space on the table and said to the 2nd young master. The 2nd young master did not say a word. Ning Shu said lightly, "Say something." She was going to mine. The 2nd young master still did not speak. Li Si wanted to push the young master, who was in a daze, but the other party was a soul body. His hand went directly through the young master's soul. Ning Shu frowned. Since the young master was unwilling, he would persuade him. She was the one who provided the materials. He only needed to put in a little effort. If the young master was unwilling, he would persuade him. If you don't want to, then forget it. Ning Shu put away the spatial ring, intending to leave. He had put in a little effort to get 10% of the profits, but he was actually not willing. If he exchanged it for 10 spirit stones, he would get 1. If he exchanged it for 100 spirit stones, he would get 10. If he was not willing to do that, then there was no point in doing so. "Senior, please wait." When Li Si saw that Ning Shu had left, he hurriedly called out to Ning Shu, "Senior, my young master is willing in his heart. It's just that he was previously a proud son of heaven. Now that he's like this, he can't bring himself to lose face." Ning Shu, do you expect me to beg him to accept it? Since there was no way to cooperate, then so be it. Pai Lupi Gongzi should just go and be a proud son of heaven. Wow! The 2nd young master immediately exclaimed, almost kneeling down in front of Ning Shu. "My silence means that I'm willing." "Hee, I can't understand what you're talking about." He had never seen such a person before. He actually couldn't bring himself to accept business that was delivered to his door. What nonsense! "All right then, you go in exchange for spirit stones. Once you're done, you can take 10% of the profits. Understand?" Ning Shu felt that this Pai Lupi Gongzi was like an idiot. He was afraid that if he didn't make it clear, the other party wouldn't understand. I understand. The second young master took the spatial ring, remaining silent. Ning Shu rolled his eyes. You used to be a young master, but now it seems that you can't even go back to your family. Your soul is about to scatter with the wind, and you're still complaining. If it wasn't for the fact that he didn't know many people, Ning Shu wouldn't have chosen this arrogant young master. Moreover, it seemed that his self-esteem was extraordinarily strong. He was completely arrogant for no reason. I'm leaving. Ning Shu waved his hand. Pai Lupi Gongzi asked, Then when will you come and get the spirit stones? I don't know. There's no fixed date. Just take them. She had to do missions, learn the laws, and mine. There were too many things that she had to do every day. Oh, the second young master made an oh sound and didn't say anything else. Ning Shu's mouth twitched. What was he being so shy about? What's the matter? Tell me, Ning Shu asked. Can I get an advance payment? The second young master asked. If it wasn't for the fact that he was a soul, Pai Lupi Gongzi's face would be smoking. He was the young master of the Li family, and now he had fallen to such a state. Ning Shu chuckled and took out some spirit stones to give to Pai Lupi Gongzi. Pai Lupi Gongzi accepted the spirit stones and moved his mouth twice. From the shape of his mouth, it seemed like he was saying thank you. Ning Shu carried the shovel to the spirit stone mine. He was wearing soft armor, and the wind blades slashed on the soft armor as he walked into the mine. In the mine, a ferocious earthworm was looking at Ning Shu. When it saw that it was Ning Shu, it shrunk its body. How long has it been? You're here again. Not long. Time passed slowly in the Nine Palace Mountain, but she had been wandering outside for a long time. Ning Shu looked at the golden basin. He thought that it was full, but it was only half full. It took a long time for a drop to drip down. Soul origin fluid was very precious. It was good enough to have half a basin. Ning Shu took the hammer and began to chisel the spirit stones. Ding ding dang dang dang. After a while, he dug out a better quality spirit stone. Then, he put it away and continued to chisel. The golden earthworm looked at Ning Shu and did not say a word. It stuck out its butt and continued to chisel the spirit stones. Ning Shu blocked the golden earthworm's voice. He could not be bothered with it. It was probably tired from all the chiseling. The golden earthworm was lying on the ground like a dead earthworm. It was so disgusting that Ning Shu could not help but stomp it to death whenever he saw it. Ning Shu began to mine day and night. He dug out countless ores that Ning Shu could not count. Moreover, they were all of good quality. Can you stop digging? You've dug out too much. The liquid won't drip anymore. The golden earthworm said angrily. Ning Shu stopped and looked at the drop of golden soul origin fluid. Since that was the case, he would dig less and look for other ores. 10 golden spirit stones were not even comparable to a drop of liquid. It was probably because there were fewer spirit stones in the surroundings. The speed of the liquid dripping was obviously slower. This mine had already provided him with a lot of spirit stones. He could not dig anymore. No one else could mine this mine. It was too dangerous. If he emptied it, there would be no more liquid. The gains would not make up for the losses. Previously, he saw that there were several ores that could not be mined like this in the Jade Strip. He would go and mine other ores. Ning Shu carried the shovel and planned to leave. He collected the liquid in the basin and placed the basin under the water droplet. The golden earthworm Tang Ru'a lay on the ground and looked at Ning Shu. It was cursing him in its heart. However, it did not show it on its face and sneered. When Ning Shu passed by the golden earthworm, he accidentally stepped on the golden earthworm, causing it to vomit blood. Piff, I'm smiling proudly. I'm smiling proudly. Ning Shu carried the iron ball and walked away. The golden earthworm bared its fangs. Venom floated in the air. It wanted to pollute the entire mine. However, when it saw the golden liquid, it was reluctant. The Grand Elder scanned the people in the room with a cold expression. Everyone who was scanned by his eyes felt cold all over. This time, I'll take you to a good place. The main system will rearrange people with missions, said the Grand Elder. Good place? Ning Shu did not believe a single strand of hair. The Grand Elder pointed his finger and a tunnel appeared in front of him. It should be a temporary space tunnel. Everyone follow me. He took the lead and walked in. The others hesitated for a moment and followed him in one after another. Ning Shu dawdled and walked into the tunnel with the Cheongsam man. I'm late. I don't know what happened. Where are we going? Ning Shu asked the Cheongsam man. The Cheongsam man opened his folding fan and almost hit Ning Shu's face. Ning Shu tilted his head and looked at him speechlessly. Actually, I don't know. Anyway, it won't take our lives, the Cheongsam man said leisurely. Ning Shu raised his eyebrows. It seems that you know. That's why you're so calm. No, I didn't, the Cheongsam man said. Ning Shu rubbed his chin and pondered. What was the purpose of gathering all the law incarnations together? Except for some laws that had not been comprehended, all the law incarnations were here. Ning Shu looked at the Cheongsam man who was fanning himself. He was a soul and could not feel cold or hot. He really wanted to kick him in the ass. He had nowhere to vent his anger. The tunnel was very long. Ning Shu felt that he had walked for a long time. He tiptoed and looked at the dark mass in front of him. The Grand Elder led the way. Ning Shu sighed in her heart. Where were they going? It's so boring. Let's talk, Ning Shu said to the Cheongsam man. Everyone is quiet. Do you want me to chat with you? The Cheongsam man said in a low voice. The pressure is too great. Chat to relieve the pressure. Ning Shu argued with the Cheongsam man. As they walked, Ning Shu heard some sounds. They were like the squeaking of rats, mixed with all kinds of unknown sounds and screams. Ning Shu frowned. Where were they sent to? The crowd began to stir. The man in the Cheongsam closed his fan and his expression became serious. Ning Shu tiptoed and glanced at the Grand Elder who was walking in front. He whispered to the Cheongsam man, Are we on the battlefield? The Cheongsam man sighed. Ning Shu was speechless. So, she was going to start a war now. Ning Shu had mixed feelings. Suddenly, there was a bright light in front of his eyes. Although he was in a soul state and would not be blinded, Ning Shu instinctively covered his eyes. When he put down his hand, he looked at everything in front of him in shock. This was a vast universe, but there was a cruel battle going on. It was a war scene that stretched as far as the eye could see. On one side was an army of souls with all kinds of attacking methods. On the other side was rats. Rats. These rats were only the size of a fist and were silver all over. There were so many of them that they covered the entire universe. There was also an endless stream of rats running out of black holes. Oh my God, dense phobia is acting up. Behind the army of souls were billions of planes as far as the eye could see. Ning Shu was dumbfounded, and so were the mission enforcers who came with him. Ning Shu tilted his head and looked at these rats. He felt that these rats looked familiar. He must have seen them somewhere before. Before Ning Shu could think about it, the Grand Elder said, Your mission now is to resist these insects with the army. Ning Shu was speechless. As expected, he had been caught. Ning Shu had no choice but to take action. After all, there were billions of planes behind them. Ning Shu directly used the law of water to wrap the rats that rushed over in a barrier, making the blood in the rats' bodies boil. However, the toughness of these rats' bodies was beyond Ning Shu's expectations. The rats that should have been turned into minced meat were actually struggling to get up. They were actually not dead. Someone was bitten by a rat. The rat was extremely ferocious. It directly ate the person's soul like it was eating crispy noodle snacks. However, the face of the person holding the rat showed human-like disgust, and then it pounced on the next person. Oh my God, I want to be a deserter. Ning Shu's mind flashed as if something had flashed past, but when he saw the endless rats rushing over, he really had the urge to turn around and run. Chapter 2255. He had just arrived at the battlefield and did not even understand the situation before he directly threw people into the battlefield. He was dumbfounded. Moreover, the defensive ability of these rats was not ordinary. They were so densely packed together that there was no gap at all. It was too scary. Wherever they passed, not even a blade of grass grew. Ning Shu felt that the rats looked familiar, But he did not have time to think about it. He used all his means to deal with them. The Cheongsam man stood beside Ning Shu and used the law of time. Those rats turned into pink little rats. Time must have reversed, making these rats return to when they were young. The pink little rats were very easy to deal with. Their skin was thin and their bones were soft. They could be pinched to death. Ning Shu condensed water into countless tiny ice needles and pierced them into the bodies of the rats. The ice needles exploded, and those rats were directly turned into minced meat. However, the horrifying thing was that these dead rats were all eaten by the rats that came later. Eating the corpses of the same race? What a terrifying appetite! Ning Shu pointed with his finger, and a tsunami-like water leaked out and surged toward the densely packed rats. These rats were hit by the waves and turned over. Then, Ning Shu instantly froze the water. A large number of rats were frozen in the ice. The ice exploded, and the rats' bodies were torn apart by the ice. Although one wave was dealt with, there was still an endless number of rats behind. The silver rats were densely packed together like silver ribbons on the horizon. They were beautiful and resplendent. However, these vicious creatures would even eat the corpses of their own race. I'll go over there and take a look. You hold on. The Cheongsam man planned to escape. Ning Shu grabbed him. Fuck you. If you dare to escape, I'll follow behind you. While they were talking, a group of rats with no end in sight came over again. However, the rats were annihilated in the next second, turning into invisible ashes. Hold on. There are billions of planes behind. If you can't hold on, we'll use you sloppy people to fill the stomachs of these insects, the black-robed Grand Elder said coldly as he scanned the law incarnations present. Ning Shu was speechless. No one could fill the stomachs of those rats. Everyone brought out their trump cards. There were law incarnations like Ning Shu, as well as an endless army. There were also some people who were not wearing military uniforms. They were most likely mission enforcers. Grand Uncle, a plane has been devoured. Now we need to transfer the living beings in the plane. Whose world should we use? Fragrant Wind Man was wearing an unyielding military uniform. There was no fragrance on his body, only a strong smell of blood. His hair was slightly drooping, and he did not apply any wax. The Grand Uncle asked, "Can your world do it?" Fragrant Wind shook his head. Those worlds that can survive are already crowded with people. As for the other worlds that haven't evolved, it's impossible for living beings to survive. The Grand Elder and the Fragrant Wind Man left in a flash. Ning Shu's hands were not slow. Moreover, when a mouse rushed in front of them, Ning Shu and the Cheongsam man almost simultaneously pushed each other into the mouse's mouth. "Fuck you bastard!" The Cheongsam man cursed. Ning Shu said, "If you don't use me as a shield, I won't use you as a shield either." Ning Shu condensed an ice blade in his hand and stabbed it into the mouse's body. The sharp blades of the Cheongsam man's fan popped out and killed the mouse. In addition to spells, there were all kinds of advanced weapons. The soldiers of the army held beam guns and killed a large number of mice with one sweep. A cannonball could destroy a large number of mice. Under these high-tech weapons, the mice could not withstand them. However, some of the defenses were still broken through by the mice, and they even ate the plane. Mice that ate planes. Ning Shu slapped his thigh. This was not a mouse that he had seen before. It looked like a mouse, but it turned out to be a marten. Where did so many of these things come from? "Fuck, what are you doing?" The Cheongsam man desperately resisted the mice and looked at Ning Shu, who was still in a daze. "You have a cat disease." Ning Shu rolled his eyes and felt that he should find some weapons. This was too slow. The recruits who had just entered the battlefield were the law incarnations of thousands of people. With all kinds of laws, it was a little difficult to resist. Moreover, the resistance was only in a small corner. Suddenly, a red fire appeared in front of him. The mice struggled in the fire and finally turned into ashes. Awan put away the ashes. Awan. Ning Shu looked at the fiery red Awan between her eyebrows. Awan looked at Ning Shu. "Why you here? Did you build the world?" "No, the law incarnations are all here," Ning Shu said. Awan frowned. The flame between her eyebrows became even redder. Looks like there's really a shortage of people. Ning Shu wanted to understand the situation from Ah Wan, but Ah Wan floated away and disappeared in a flash. The mice still swarmed over in an overwhelming manner. He did not know where they came from or where the mice were nesting. How could there be so many mice? This fertility was simply heaven-defying. It felt like the plane was a fragile baby. The resentment of humans and the 7 emotions and 6 desires could hurt it. Now, there were these things that wanted to gnaw on it. Internal and external troubles. The problem was, when would the attack stop? Could it be that they could not stop? The Cheongsam man's law was very powerful. In an instant, he could turn these mice into ashes and disappear in the long river of history. Nothing could withstand the destruction of time. Ning Shu compressed the water, forming countless water droplets. The water droplets dripped on the mice's bodies. Each drop of water was as heavy as Mount Tai. When the water droplets pressed on the mice's bodies, they directly turned their bodies into minced meat. In order to let the mice behind eat these corpses, Ning Shu directly stored these corpses in his ring space. Coagulation and the Cheongsam man worked together. The other law incarnations found partners to work with. A few of them formed a small group to resist the mice. The mice attacked tirelessly. Everyone gritted their teeth and persevered. Ning Shu felt that his law incarnation was becoming more and more proficient. He could change a drop of water between hot and cold in an instant. In between extreme cold and extreme heat, he directly blew up the mice's bodies, causing them to die instantly. Ning Shu felt that his brain was slowly becoming muddled. Almost instinctively, he began to attack again and again. He did not know how long this attack would last. Squeak, 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 squeak. Even though the squeak of a mouse was faint, it still spread everywhere. This sound came from the black hole. Hearing this sound, the mice turned around and returned to the black hole. The army advanced forward and attacked the mice. However, the mice did not look back. They burrowed into the black hole and disappeared. It didn't take long for the entire universe to become empty. Ning Shu let out a long sigh of relief and sat down. I was almost eaten by the mice. Where did these things come from? Chapter 2256. Ning Shu was very curious about what was on the other side of the black hole. The rats entered the black hole. Was the black hole a passage to another world? Even though the battle was over, everyone was still here. They didn't relax at all. The atmosphere was quite tense. The man in the Cheongsam exhaled and sat down. He opened his fan and fanned himself desperately. Sigh, I just wanted to open a tavern. Why did it turn out like this? The man in the Cheongsam shook his head and said, and find a girlfriend. Ning Shu thought, hee, you'd better find a boyfriend. Ning Shu felt that he should understand the situation. He looked around. He had to find someone to ask about the situation. Ning Shu stood up and prepared to walk around. Since he was already here, he had to understand the situation and the enemy. He basically didn't know anyone here. The only one he knew was Senior Uncle. However, he should be dealing with the collapsed plane now. Rawan. The battlefield was so big. Where should he find her? No one knew when those rats would attack. Perhaps the next attack would be very fierce. Ning Shu felt that some things could be linked together. The mission enforcers maintained the plane from the inside. Then, the mission enforcers who built the world would be qualified to accept the creatures of the collapsed plane so that those creatures wouldn't perish because of the collapse of the plane. Therefore, the mission enforcers who built the world could jump out of the fate of being obliterated anytime and anywhere. This was because these mission enforcers who built the world needed to accept the creatures of the collapsed plane. And these soul armies should be defending against things that directly hurt the plane. For example, these rats fed on plane fragments and swallowed the plane's heavenly axiom. Ning Shu covered his face. Why couldn't these things eat something normal? They either ate soul origins or planes. Why couldn't they eat some grass and food seriously? Perhaps these rats were more powerful than humans, which was why they fed on planes. Just like how the Kuanpeng ate dragons and the Loach ate soil. They were strong, so the things they ate were shocking. Billions of planes might be vast, but they were just food for these rats. Ning Shu felt that he should find someone to inquire about the situation on the battlefield. Where are you going? The man in the Cheongsam asked Ning Shu. It's better to stay here. Who knows when they'll start attacking? You stay here, I'll go ask some questions, Ning Shu said. You're the only one asking questions. Let me do it. The Cheongsam man stood up and opened his folding fan. You're too ugly. If you go, others will only shut you up. You're ugly, you shut up. You're just like that. Every time you meet someone, you ask him to be your boyfriend. He will just beat you up until you shut up. Ning Shu felt that the word he was extremely sarcastic and full of malice. Ning Shu shuttled through the crowd and looked at the Soul Army at a close distance. All of them were glowing with golden light and were very dazzling. Other than the Soul Army, there were also mission enforcers. These mission enforcers were not wearing proper military uniforms, and their numbers were quite large. They should be mission enforcers who had built the world. After walking around, he didn't find anyone to ask. Everyone's face was very deep, but he did find a few enemies, such as young Master Ronghua, who had a conflict with him, and Wen Yen. Young Master Ronghua was still gloomy like a poisonous snake. He glanced at Ning Shu with an expressionless face, and seemed to think of something. He suddenly turned back and looked at Ning Shu. Young Master Ronghua poked Wen Yen beside him. Wen Yen followed his gaze and looked over. Wen Yen actually smiled at Ning Shu. Ning Shu also grinned. Damn, if he met someone who had a conflict with him in this place, would he be arranged to rush to the front and become cannon fodder? Where there were people, there would be fighting. Under the premise that it didn't hinder the general direction, small disagreements between individuals were not a problem at all. However, young Master Ronghua and Wen Yen didn't pay attention to Ning Shu. If he had known earlier, he wouldn't have wandered around. All he met were people with conflicts. Ning Shu intended to return to his position. Since he had been arranged to come here, he could only try his best to survive. It was estimated that they were really in need of manpower. Even the law incarnations that did not build a world were brought here to fight. Ning Shu felt that the law incarnations should be the weakest here. He should find some self-defense equipment. He couldn't survive by relying on the power of law. They brought people here and directly threw them here. They didn't care about whether they could survive or not. Compared to the lives of some people, behind this were billions of planes. Billions of creatures in these planes were more important. Ning Shu felt that being a task enforcer was very happy. At least, it was not like now where he was constantly in danger of losing his life. Those creatures living in the plains who didn't know anything were actually very happy. Perhaps they were very miserable. But in the places they didn't know, unknown people built walls to protect billions of planes and creatures. Thinking about how she was also protected before, now it was her turn to protect others. This feeling was very sour. She would rather be protected, but being pulled here, she could only brace herself. She was weak. Coming here, she could only be eaten by rats. She could only help the rats increase their strength. Nothing else was possible. She didn't know anyone. Her social relations were too poor. No, it should be that she didn't know many experts. Now that she had suddenly entered a new level, she was a little blind. Ning Shu realized that the souls of these soldiers were all shining with golden light. Some were shining like the golden statues of bodhisattvas in temples. Something was smeared on their bodies. Some souls were not only shining with golden light, but also had purple providence. This purple light, if it was in a plane, would definitely be the existence of an emperor. Thick providence. So dazzling. At a glance, it was a magnificent sight. Could it be that the condition to choose a soul army was good providence? Ning Shu walked around. Everyone's face was tense, and the atmosphere was somber. This made Ning Shu have goosebumps all over. He didn't pay attention and glanced at a familiar person. Ning Shu tilted his head and stared at him for a long time. He narrowed his eyes. Why was this person here? Mo Ming? Ning Shu walked over and called out tentatively. Mo Ming's body was shining with purple light. He turned his head and looked at the thin and short Ning Shu. You know me? Ning Shu waved his hand. The golden light on Mo Ming's body was about to blind him. You scared me. Logically speaking, Mo Ming's body wouldn't be able to hold on for long. He would definitely die. After death, he should enter the cycle of reincarnation. Ning Shu felt that he might meet mission enforcers here, but he didn't expect to meet an ordinary Mo Ming here. Mo Ming, who was in a soul state, shouldn't be tortured by physical illness. How do you know my name? Mo Ming asked. Here, everyone only had a number and no name. Even if they had a name, they would use numbers to replace it. Chapter 2257. Ever since Mo Ming arrived, no one had called him by his name, only a number. Now that he heard someone calling him, Mo Ming knew that this was someone who knew him. He had yet to make a name for himself in the army, and his name had yet to spread. Ha! Ning Shu laughed awkwardly but politely. I'm not calling you. I'm just saying you're weird. Ning Shu did not want to have anything to do with Mo Ming. It was awkward to meet someone from the mission here. Mo Ming saw the water droplet between Ning Shu's eyebrows. You're the embodiment of the laws. Did you just come to the battlefield? Ning Shu nodded. I just came. I don't know what's going on. Mo Ming squinted slightly, and a light flashed in his eyes. He said, if all the planes are compared to a tree, these billions of planes are the leaves. These races need to eat the leaves to survive and reproduce, and there are many living creatures living in the leaves. These rats have reached the breeding stage. They have to eat one plane after another. They also eat everything and absorb the genes of the things they eat to evolve. Ning Shu was speechless. How hopeless! How long will this last? Ning Shu asked. He felt that Mo Ming must have recognized him. Otherwise, he would not have said so much to a stranger. Since he had found someone who could talk, he had to ask clearly. I don't know. The ones in front are weaker. The ones in the back should be more powerful, Mo Ming said. Ning Shu was speechless. Ants could bite an elephant to death. It was already very frightening to see so many ants covering the sky and covering the earth. After that, who knew what kind of things would appear and evolve into? Ning Shu pointed at the golden light on Mo Ming's body and asked, what kind of attack is this? Oh, this is the manifestation of merit. Those things can eat anything. With merit, your soul will become very strong, and those things will not be able to bite you. It turned out that the things he had been forced to donate were all used here. Large amounts of merit were used in these places. Of course, these things can only be obtained if you have military merits, Mo Ming said. Then what about the purple light on your body? Ning Shu raised his eyebrows. This was great luck. There's a saying that, when things reach an extreme, they will move in the opposite direction. When you were alive, you were harmed by this kind of karmic luck. Your body was unable to support such a large amount of karmic luck, so your body has always been in tatters, you know that? No, I don't know. Ning Shu shook his head. Hearing you say that, I feel that you're quite pitiful. But now that you're here, as long as you don't die, you'll live forever. If he was bitten by a rat, he wouldn't even have the chance to reincarnate. Mo Ming just smiled and didn't say anything. He handed a gun to Ning Shu and said, use the power of faith to attack. The power of faith attached to the gun is the most powerful. Faith was the spiritual demand of human beings, the home of their souls, and the source of their happiness. Faith was the soul, vital energy, a lighthouse, and the power of one spirit. A little faith power was the power of many people gathered together. But the power of faith will be like a flood. It'll be gone in an instant. It's suitable for a big move. Ning Shu accepted the spear. It was surprisingly light. This meant that a portion of the faith power and soul power that mission enforcers obtained from completing missions would be taken from them. This meant that the mission enforcers used to support these armies. These armies protected billions of dimensions. This feeling was like a taxpayer paying taxes. Your military merits are faith power, merit, and soul power? This was a way to strengthen oneself. It was different from mission enforcers. However, Ning Shu would rather do missions. It was too dangerous here. You gave me the weapon. What about yourself? Ning Shu asked. Mo Ming patted his waist. There were weapons everywhere. Mo Ming's waist was full of all kinds of strange weapons. Thank you. You're too dazzling. You're dazzling. Ning Shu saw that everyone was staring at her and Mo Ming, so she said goodbye to Mo Ming. Mo Ming stopped Ning Shu and asked, "What's your name?" 2333, Ning Shu said. "Why did you call me?" 2333 asked. "I'm not talking to you." Even in such a serious situation, Ning Shu almost laughed at 2333's joke. "It's not a number, it's a name," Mo Ming said. "You know my name, but I don't know yours. That's not fair." "You're talking to me about fairness?" Ning Shu was a little surprised. Seeing that the other party gave her a gun, she said, "My name is Ning Shu. I'm leaving." She had to guard that place. If that place was breached, she seriously suspected that the people above would throw her directly into a group of rats and eat her up. "Be careful. Goodbye." Ning Shu took the gun and returned to the place where the law incarnation was guarding. The Cheongsam man was holding a fan and fanning himself. When he saw the gun in Ning Shu's hand, he raised his eyebrows and asked, "Who gave it to you?" "I picked it up," Ning Shu said. The Cheongsam man rolled his eyes. "This item is provided to the military. I have to find someone I know to get one." Ning Shu said, "This gun consumes the power of faith. It attacks with the power of faith." The Cheongsam man said to Ning Shu, "You stay here and guard. I'll go find someone." In this place, even a soul soldier had more equipment than them. If they wanted to survive, they had to risk their lives. Ning Shu said to 2333, "I also want to add merit to myself. At least I have more than 100,000 merit points. It can make my soul stronger." "Don't. You're a quest taker. You have to enter every plane. If you add merit to yourself, you'll disturb the plane when you do your quest. If a person with great merit enters the plane, it will affect it. At most, we won't have enough people. You have to defend for a while. You're not a member of the military. Don't add merit to yourself," 2333 said. Ning Shu said, "But I'm a coward. I'm a coward." If she became a deserter and the rats broke through the encirclement and ate the plane behind her, she would definitely be shot. Ning Shu exchanged for soft armor. The soft armor could resist some attacks. Even if she was bitten by the rats, it could resist for a while. Ning Shu, who was a coward, exchanged for a lot of life-saving items. She attached the gun to her waist. When necessary, she would use some power of faith to attack. She heard that these were the former sentinels. There were even more powerful ones behind them. This meant that they had been resisting for a long time. Since the organization's incident, the quadrupled prices were probably to give these soul soldiers more merit and power of faith. They were also forced to donate. It seemed that the situation was really bad. Even people like them had been dragged in. The Cheongsam man got a gun from somewhere, and there was more than one. He asked for a basket of guns and distributed them to the law incarnations who were on good terms with him. However, with so many people, the guns were definitely not enough. Those who did not get a gun could do nothing. Ning Shu looked at the Cheongsam man. He probably knew someone from the military. That was why he got some weapons. Chapter 2258. Those who didn't get it, don't be angry. After all, this kind of gun consumes the power of faith and has great lethality. One gun can resist for a while, but it consumes your own power of faith. The Cheongsam man said. The Cheongsam man knew how to behave. Everyone's emotions were taken into consideration. Ning Shu thought about Mo Ming's matter. It was probably because of his great luck that he was chosen to be part of the Soul Army. Actually, with his luck, even if he was reincarnated, he would probably be reincarnated into a good family. He probably saved the world in his previous life to have such great luck. In the end, his body couldn't hold it anymore. He didn't know when this battle would end. In the past, he felt that some missions were quite difficult, but it was still better than here. Seeing the densely packed things rushing over like a tide, it was too fucking terrifying. He couldn't help but feel disgusted. Ning Shu closed his eyes. Although his body wouldn't be tired, it was easy to have problems when one's mind was tense. He had to rest enough to continue working. He had seen this mouse when he was a princess, and it was by Li Wen's side. Could it be that the mouse fell in love with Li Wen? If Li Wen knew what kind of mouse it was, he didn't know what her expression would be like. Maybe the current Li Wen didn't exist anymore. Ning Shu sighed. How many sacrifices would have to be made to protect these billions of planes? Not only were there billions of living worlds, but there were also billions of reincarnation worlds that had to be protected. She had to live. She still had to feed her reincarnation world. She was still 2 worlds away from being able to build a world that belonged to her. Fuck, if she could really build a world, would she also be dragged to the battlefield to hold the living beings from the broken planes? Fortunately, she hadn't built it yet. She didn't know if her world could evolve. If it was just a small world, how could it hold so many living beings? Moreover, foreign species always had an impact on the original world. Has Wan built her world? Ning Shu asked the Chongsam man. Yes, she is considered very strong among the law incarnations. Even if I am the time law incarnation, I might not be able to defeat her. The Chongsam man said as he familiarized himself with the gun in his hand. How nice, Wan looked so carefree. That dead Hong Yu still wanted to compete with Wan in every aspect, but in the end, Wan did not even care about it. It was not a matter of the strength of the precept, but Wan was truly powerful, and it was not for the sake of competing for others' recognition. She was definitely a goddess. Wan should be a veteran mission enforcer. He's here. The Chongsam man said coldly. Ning Shu opened his eyes and looked at the black hole. There seemed to be ripples shaking. Something was about to come out of the black hole. Ning Shu said to the law incarnation, now, we need to work together and form a formation that's easy to defend and hard to attack. This way, the chances of everyone surviving will be higher. The man in the Chongsam nodded. Everyone got into formation and took turns to attack. This way, they would not get tired, and everyone would help each other. The man in the Chongsam had a lot of prestige among the law incarnations. Whatever he said, everyone would give him face and do as he said. Besides, this was a matter of everyone's lives, so it was not the time to mess around. The black hole rippled faster and faster. In the end, it was as if a dam had been opened. Countless rats rushed out of the black hole. Ning Shu's body went numb. This was too disgusting. Trypophobia was not something he could afford. Many rats surged out of the black hole in all directions, instantly filling the entire universe. Fragrant Wind was dressed in a military uniform. The black-clothed Tai Shu, as well as the gentleman, floated above the army. Fragrant Wind ordered, "Attack." With the military order, the sky was filled with dazzling attacks. Moreover, Ning Shu discovered that the rats in front were much bigger than the rats behind. They should be bigger rats that had evolved. Some weaker rats were sandwiched in the middle, and some stronger rats were behind them. Their bodies had changed, and the muscles all over their bodies bulged. They were actually using the method of Tianji's horse racing. If the first wave of the strong attacked the defense, the weaker ones at the back would pounce on them, and the stronger ones would pounce on them. Then the whole army would be wiped out. It seemed that evolution did not only evolve the body, but also the intelligence. Ning Shu began to attack. For the time being, he did not use the power of faith. The law incarnations used their own laws. They were as dazzling as fireworks. All kinds of laws intertwined, and the lethality was barely enough to resist. However, the stronger rats in front had very strong defenses. Even if they were frozen in ice by Ning Shu, they were still struggling. Even if they were washed by the scalding hot water and their fur was burned off, they still tried their best to come over. There was only greed and desire for food in their eyes. Seeing this, Ning Shu had some doubts. After all, the rats he had encountered before were not so ferocious. Could it be that they just looked a little similar? No matter how cruel the situation below was, and both sides were like meat grinders, the Tai Shu and Fragrant Wind, who were standing in the sky, were just quietly observing the battle. They did not make a move. Squeak, squeak. Waves of screams came from the black hole. It seemed that something terrifying had drilled out. Then, a monster as huge as a mountain came out of the black hole. There were many monsters, and each of them was different. Some had eyes all over their bodies, and their eyes shot out rays of light. Those who were hit by the rays of light were directly turned into ashes. These monsters kept coming out of the black hole. Ning Shu was dumbfounded. Fuck, what the hell is this? As soon as these things came out, the three people who had not made a move flew toward the monsters. The Tai Shu had turned into an indomitable yaksha. In his hand was an incomparably huge fork that seemed to be able to pierce through the universe. One fork could destroy a plane. Cough. Wearing a tuxedo and a bow tie, the gentleman's skin was indeed ferocious. He stabbed a monster to death with one fork, and stomped a group of rats to death with one foot. Moreover, his body was in the form of mist, so the rats could not hurt him at all. As for Fragrant Wind, he was armed to the teeth. All kinds of weapons bombarded him one after another. Everywhere he went, there was an instant kill. The Tai Shu squeezed his hand, and the monsters were annihilated into powder. Moreover, there were more and more monsters, but a batch of them were crushed into powder. However, there were also fish that escaped the net and came this way. Monsters with tentacles all over their bodies were coming in the direction of Ning Shu and the others. Moreover, those who were stuck by these tentacles would be eaten. They were getting closer and closer. If they were broken through, they would not be able to defend this place. Ning Shu took out his gun and fired a shot with the power of faith. The bullet was a white ball of light. This ball of light was getting bigger and bigger. The rats that were touched by the ball of light were annihilated into ashes. The monster that was running wildly was also turned into ashes. The ball of light expanded. Its lethality was huge, which shocked Ning Shu. However, the consumption of the power of faith shocked Ning Shu even more. With just one shot, 200,000 power of faith was gone. The Tai Shu glanced over and withdrew his gaze. Chapter 2259. The first move was a big move. He was probably retarded. Or he had a lot of money. Everyone just thought for a while and did what they were supposed to do. It was a good thing that someone was willing to spend the power of faith to kill the enemy. Ning Shu stared blankly as the ball of light grew bigger and bigger. All the rats that came into contact with the ball of light turned into ashes. Ning Shu had heard Mo Ming say that it was a big move, but he didn't expect it to be so big. Moreover, the power of faith was like a flood. With just one shot, 200,000 power of faith was gone. However, 200,000 power of faith was very destructive. The ball of light grew bigger and finally exploded, forming a ripple of light that directly wiped out all the rats on the battlefield. It was very destructive and fast. No matter how much power of faith there was, it couldn't withstand such a waste. Ning Shu didn't think that he was rich. It was the Chongsam man next to him who was rich. It was mainly because they saw the monster with tentacles all over its body. With their ability, it would be difficult to resist. If they were broken through, their souls would be eaten by the rats. Therefore, they decisively fired. Although Mo Ming said that it was a waste of power of faith, Ning Shu didn't believe him. As a result, his heart bled. Although the big move dealt with a wave of rats, there was still a steady stream of rats running out of the black hole. Some of them were very powerful. There were also some strange and disgusting monsters. It was unknown what direction these monsters were going to evolve. They were either covered in hooks, had wings, or had sharp claws. It was a mess and so ugly that it hurt the eyes. Previously, he thought that rats were very scary, but he didn't expect these things to make him feel numb. At least they had a direction to develop. Such a messy evolution was really unbearable to look at. There were more and more monsters, and the firepower was getting stronger. Ning Shu used the law and said to the Chongsam man, "You shoot later. I have to slow down. My heart hurts." The Chongsam man was speechless. Everyone tried their best to block, but these monsters were getting closer and closer. Even if Ning Shu's water turned into countless water droplets and smashed on the backs of these monsters, there was still a steady stream of monsters coming out. There were more and more of them, and they were very crowded. People like the Lord of the Taishu Palace could kill a large number of them. Moreover, these monsters didn't even have corpses. They were directly turned into ashes. All the rats that got close to him were turned into powder. They couldn't even get close to him. Ning Shu was very envious. He had arranged a barrier around his body. If he was bitten by a mouse, he might be able to last for a while. However, Ning Shu did not have much confidence in the wizardry barrier. After all, it was something that could even chew through a bitwall. Her wizardry barrier was probably not comparable to a bitwall. The monsters were getting closer and closer. Many people began to use their ultimate skills. The balls of light gradually became bigger and bigger. Everything that came into contact with the balls of light was turned into ashes. Ning Shu kicked the man in the cheongsam. "Why don't you open fire? If we fail to defend this place, the consequences will be dire." "My weapon is still on cooldown," Ning Shu said. "Cheongsam man, cool down your head. Do you think that there's a cooldown period when you're playing games?" The man in the cheongsam fired a shot at a monster that was dripping saliva and had a long tongue. The monster roared in pain and turned into powder. As the balls of light grew bigger, a group of rats were turned into ashes. Under such a series of ultimate skills, the rats on the battlefield were wiped out completely. However, there were still many monsters coming out of the black hole. Moreover, their bodies were getting bigger and bigger. Ning Shu wanted to curse when he saw this. There was really no end to this. Who could withstand such a tag team battle? Even with all kinds of advanced weapons, there were still people who died in the mouths of the rat monsters. There were even a few law incarnations who died. They were all killed by the rats. When the law incarnations died, the law imprint on their bodies would float out. Some greedy law incarnations wanted to snatch the law imprint, but they were bitten by the monsters. Life and death were extinguished, and the imprint on their bodies floated out. The death of the law incarnations caused some chaos in this corner. The man in the cheongsam scolded everyone with a solemn expression not to snatch the law imprint. However, the temptation of the law imprint was too great. Not only would it allow one to control a law, but it would also be an ultimate law. There was also a city. This city would bring him a lot of faith power and merit points. It was a huge benefit. As more and more law imprints floated in the air, the law incarnations became more and more impulsive. Some people could restrain their greed, but some people wanted it. It was not that the temptation was not great enough, but the price was not high enough. Obviously, the value of these law imprints was great enough to tempt people. Ning Shu hurriedly fired a shot and killed the monster that was rushing toward the chaotic team. If this side became chaotic, there was no telling what would happen when the investigation was carried out. With this shot, another 200,000 merit points were gone. Ning Shu bit his lips tightly. Fortunately, a large number of monsters around him had been reduced to ashes by the power of faith power. Without the attacks of the monsters, the several law imprints floating in the air were particularly attractive. Everyone did not move. They were ready to attack, and then they swarmed over to snatch them. Ning Shu stood still. The black hole monsters and rats rushed out again like water being released from a dam. However, the attention of the people here was on the law imprints. These people were loners and were used to being free. If it were the spirit army, there would definitely not be such a situation of looting. The law imprints were really too precious. Not everyone had the ability to comprehend the laws. Therefore, the law imprints were very precious. There was also the value behind them. A few people snatched the law imprints. Before they could be happy, the law imprints floated away from their hands and into the hands of the Grand Elder, who had a solemn expression. He stretched out his hand, and the law imprints fell into his hand. With a squeeze of his hand, he directly crushed a few law imprints, turning them into specks of light that dissipated. The law incarnations. Their hearts hurt. If there is a next time, you will end up like these law imprints. The Grand Elder's golden glasses refracted a white luster. If we can't defend this side, I don't mind throwing you to feed the bugs. Everyone trembled. They were more distressed about the law imprints. How much tax would they have to pay? Oh my God. Ning Shu felt that these people were not as important as the billions of planes behind them. No, there was no comparison between the two. The billions of planes were countless times more important than them. Ning Shu's face was cold. Damn, how long has it been? 400,000 merit points were gone. She only had about 2 million merit points in total. At most, she could use 10 shots. Damn. Please allow her to go back and collect taxes. Otherwise, she would not be able to survive. There were so many monsters, and she could not use her ultimate move casually. /BK. Chapter 2260. Whether or not there was a weapon didn't consume that much faith power. Although this kind of big move was very cool, the amount of faith power consumed was very painful. These law incarnations that were in a hurry to snatch the law imprint made her waste another 200,000 faith power. It was so dangerous. Not to mention that they did not get anything, they would die first. So what if they got something? Ning Shu felt that he was already very satisfied with a water law imprint. As for the other law imprints, Ning Shu did not want to be greedy. Even if he wanted to, it was not something he could do now. Ning Shu was really afraid that he would not be able to go back. The Cheongsam man also had a cold face. His expression looked especially scary. The aura around him was cold. He said to everyone, "Since you guys don't listen to the organization, then there's no need to team up." No one said anything. After a while, a dense group of monsters came over again. No one said anything and quickly started to attack the monsters. These monsters were getting stronger and stronger. Ordinary weapons were useless against them. Their defense was getting stronger. Ning Shu and the Cheongsam man worked together and killed a lot of monsters. Ning Shu saw that the Cheongsam man used the law of time to make the monsters very weak in an instant. He remembered that he had a ruby ring that was also a law of time attack. Maybe it would be useful. Ning Shu asked 2333 to teleport the ring to him. The ring fell into Ning Shu's hand. Ning Shu injected some energy into the ring. With a thought, a huge monster that was the size of a big house was shot at. The monster's body became a little hunched. It was skinny and shriveled into a skeleton. It looked very weak. Ning Shu was both shocked and pleasantly surprised. What was shocking was that if it was an ordinary time ray, it would definitely turn into ashes. However, this monster was still able to persevere. This meant that this monster had a very long lifespan and a strong physique. The pleasant thing was that the ring was useful. Although it could not directly turn the monster into ashes, it could make the monster's skin become brittle. A drop of heavy water could smash it to death. However, this kind of attack consumed a lot of mental energy. Ning Shu usually dealt with bigger monsters. With the law of time next to him, it was safe. Moreover, if the monsters ran in front of them, the Cheongsam man could reverse time and make the monsters move further away to buy time for everyone. Under the bombardment of all kinds of laws, these monsters were dizzy and were barely able to resist. The Cheongsam man looked at the ring on Ning Shu's hand curiously, but the situation did not allow him to ask. The Cheongsam man just glanced at it and looked away. Squeak, squeak. Ning Shu heard the squeaking sound again. He thought it was a signal to retreat. After all, the monsters had retreated when they squeaked before. However, the situation this time was a little different. Hearing this, the monsters became even more violent. Their fur stood up, and they attacked even more ferociously. Not only that, but the monsters that came out of the black hole were even more horrifying. These monsters were like giants, and their appearances were indescribable. Some were humanoid, some were animal-shaped, and all of them were very ugly. Suddenly, he felt that the silver white mice from before were quite cute, unlike these monsters that were beyond recognition. More and more giant monsters came out, and it made everyone's eyelids twitch. Ning Shu only wanted to ask how many monsters there were and what the world on the other side of the black hole looked like. Could it be that there were billions of planes, and that every plane was filled with these monsters? Could this be a planar war? Ning Shu used a lot of energy to use the ruby ring. Fortunately, there were many law incarnations around him with guns in their hands. They could resist for a long time after firing a shot. However, the person who fired the gun did not feel the pain. It was so painful that 200,000 faith power was gone. Ning Shu saw that the military was also attacking, but the things they were attacking were a little strange because they were throwing out the world's origin. As soon as the world's origin was thrown into the pile of monsters, These monsters seemed to have gone crazy. They desperately gnawed at the world's origin and began to kill each other. It seemed that the world's origin was a fatal attraction to monsters. Ning Shu almost vomited blood. What was going on? They were actually using the world's origin as an attack weapon. Was there anything more ridiculous than this? No wonder there were so few world's origins. There were billions of planes, and at least 1 or 2 world's origins were produced. With so many planes, there would be a lot of world's origins accumulated. Some of the world's origins with offensive power, such as the metal attribute, were directly cut in half by the metal attribute world's origins. The metal attribute was the sharpest world's origin. If one wanted to swallow such a world's origin, even if it was swallowed into the stomach, the metal attribute would fly out of the stomach. Some world's origins with no offensive power would be killed even if they were swallowed by monsters. However, monsters really liked world's origins. Ning Shu's heart ached. He did not know if there were any light and darkness world's origins. If he got 2 of them, he would be rich. Previously, even if there was a law imprint in front of Ning Shu was not tempted because he had the law of water. Now that he saw the world's origin, his heart ached and he wanted it. He did not know if he could get a light and darkness world's origin from the military. Ning Shu's throat was choked with blood. He could not spit it out or swallow it. It was very uncomfortable. He did not even dare to look at the world's origin. Otherwise, Ning Shu felt that he would go crazy. Moreover, the world's origin had been swallowed by a powerful monster. Its power had merged with the monster, and it felt like it was helping the enemy. However, the monster that had merged with the world's origin's power would be quickly eaten by rats. Of course, they would be eaten by their own kind. Of course, it was also to obtain that power. Ning Shu's heart was very complicated. The dazzling attacks were endless. The other party attacked day and night, and there was no day and night to defend. Ning Shu felt very tired. He had been tense all this time. Moreover, because he had used the ruby ring, his mental power had been severely depleted. However, he had no choice but to be alert. The attacks of the law incarnations were not very methodical. They could only defend. Moreover, they had to continuously use big moves. Especially when they could not resist, they had to use big moves. The law incarnations who had guns took turns to fire. This way, everyone was exhausted and could last a little longer. The attacks of the spirit army were especially methodical. They were not messy at all. A regular army was indeed different from those who had joined the army halfway. As the battle progressed, everyone's expressions became more and more serious. Even if they died, they had to hold on. There were billions of planes behind them. /BK, you're tuning in to the Passion Pages YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.